Chapter 26. The night was quiet, and the cold moonlight shone on the forest. The silver light illuminated the Baiyun mountain range in the darkness. Phew, I finally succeeded. Yi Qinfeng spent another 5 hours and finally absorbed the last intense flame elixir. After absorbing 2 intense flame elixirs in succession, Yi Qinfeng's body underwent a qualitative change. The cells in his body split to the limit, and large amounts of black impurities were expelled from his body. At this moment, Yi Qinfeng's muscles were filled with strength, and his mouth was filled with a sweet taste. However, the qualitative change of the body was only the first step to completing body tempering. If Yi Qinfeng wanted to reach the second stage of 6 Meridians God Star Shield, he would need to replenish a large amount of blood and qi to fully stimulate the potential of his body. This was because his body was like a limitless lake. Only when the lake was filled to the brim with water would it be considered a success. Elixirs that could replenish blood and qi were extremely rare. Normally, they would only appear in the highest level auctions in the Zijin Kingdom. Moreover, they were extremely expensive. Even if Ji Qing Shui gave Yi Qinfeng 700,000 taels of silver, it would still be very difficult for him to buy an elixir that could replenish blood and qi. The most important thing now is to enter the Sky Fire Marshal House as soon as possible. Perhaps only there will I have a chance to obtain elixirs that can replenish blood and qi. Sensing his body's condition, Yi Qinfeng muttered to himself. After successfully tempering his body, Yi Qinfeng sat cross-legged on the ground and rested for a while. After eating something, he took out 2 low-grade spirit crystals and circulated the spirit-devouring art at high speed, devouring soul power to cultivate. Just as the night was getting darker and Yi Qinfeng was completely immersed in cultivation, a sudden loud noise disturbed him. He opened his deep eyes and looked into the distance. Ji Qingxue, let's see where you can escape to. The black-clothed leader, who was covered in blood and whose chest was badly mangled, relied on his speed to finally intercept the 2 girls. Looking at the 2 girls who were still in shock, the heavily injured black-clothed leader's eyes emitted a terrifying light. The long sword in his hand was like a venomous snake, stabbing towards the 2 girls. Iceberg attack. Although the leader in black was heavily injured, he was still a first-level beast illusionist. Ji Qingxue did not dare to attack him at close range. She could only summon her spiritual beast, Icebird, to deal with him. Shadow Split Sword. The Icebird flapped its snow-white wings, bringing with it a gust of cold wind. The black-clad leader, who had plenty of battle experience, did not dodge. He quickly thrust out the long sword in his hand. A streak of lightning-fast sword qi tore through the night sky, striking the Icebird at a speed that was hard to see with the naked eye. The sharp sword qi directly broke through the Icebird's soul defense, piercing through its body and dissipating in midair. Pooh! With the Icebird destroyed, Ji Qingxue immediately suffered a soul force backlash. A mouthful of blood spurted out from her mouth and dyed the ground red. Her body became incomparably weak. White Snake Coil. Just as the black-robed leader unleashed his soul skill and severely injured the Icebird, Baixia controlled her white snake spirit beast to suddenly close in on him. The snake wriggled its 10-meter-long body, which was covered in scales, and wrapped around him. Then it opened its bloody mouth and bit down on his head. Just as the white snake was about to bite the head of the leader in black and seriously injure him, a ferocious roar sounded in the dark forest. Spiritual beast, Black Bear. The black-clad leader's soul power erupted, and his spiritual beast, Black Bear, appeared in his body. An earth-shattering burst of soul power burst out and forcibly tore apart the white snake that was wrapped around him. The white snake was torn apart, and Baixia also suffered a soul force backlash. A large amount of blood flowed out from her 7 orifices. Her body went limp, and she collapsed to the ground. Since you don't know what's good for you, then don't blame me for being impolite. Looking at the severely injured Ji Qingxue and Baixia who had fallen to the ground, the black-clad leader's eyes revealed a trace of coldness. Holding the long sword in his hand, He approached them step by step. Don't mess around. I'll go with you. Ji Qingxue found a trace of lust in the black-clad leader's ice-cold eyes. She panicked and shouted loudly. It's too late to be afraid now. 3 of his companions were dead, and he was seriously injured. This completely enraged the black-clad leader. Looking at Ji Qingxue and Bai Xia's beautiful faces, he harbored evil intentions. If you dare to hurt us, neither the Ji family nor the Jiang family will let you go. Ji Qingxue pretended to be calm and warned. The Jiang family, thinking of Ji Qingxue's identity and thinking of his master, the black-clad leader calmed down a little. He cast a cold gaze at the equally beautiful Bai Xia. My father is the White Emperor City's lord. If you hurt me, my father will definitely kill you. Seeing the black-clad leader's gaze shift to her, Bai Xia suddenly felt like she was being stared at by a hungry wolf. All the hair on her body stood on end, and she warned nervously. So you're the White Emperor City's lord's daughter. I was wondering why you were born so beautiful. The heavens are really good to me. The black-clad leader revealed a crazy and lascivious smile. He released his soul force to bind Ji Qingxue's body. Bai Xia, whose body was weak and violently resisting, was placed on his shoulder and walked to the smooth rock at the side. Bastard, put me down. You'll die a horrible death. The heavens will definitely not let you go. Being carried on the black-clad leader's shoulder, Bai Xia anxiously struggled violently. She kept waving her hands to hit the black-clad leader's body. However, her weak fists could not cause any harm to the black-clad leader. Shout. It's useless even if you shout until your throat breaks. No one can save you here, the black-clad leader said viciously as he threw Bai Xia onto the bone-piercing cold rock. Seeing that Bai Xia was in danger, Ji Qingxue, who was bound by soul force, panicked. However, her soul beast, Ice Bird, was severely injured, causing her body to become abnormally weak. She could not break free from the soul force binding her. You bastard, I, Ji Qingxue, swear that I will tear you to pieces in the future. Seeing Bai Xia fall step by step into the bottomless abyss, Ji Qingxue felt as if a knife was piercing her heart. She roared loudly. Don't worry, young Master Jiang will not give you this chance. When you fall into young Master Jiang's hands, I think your end will be even worse than hers, the black-clad leader said proudly. Jiang Shanshui, he also came to White Emperor City. Hearing this news, Ji Qingxue's eyes were filled with fear. She did not expect the Jiang family to be so crazy and take revenge so quickly. Bastard, I won't let you go even if I become a ghost. Bai Xia, whose face was covered in tears, shouted in despair. Her charming eyes revealed a look of determination. Under the moonlight, Bai Xia gave up resisting and prepared to bite her tongue to commit suicide. Just as the black-clad leader's ferocious face was getting closer and closer, and Bai Xia was about to bite her tongue to commit suicide, her pupils suddenly dilated. Chapter 27. A pair of fists full of 2,500 kilograms of force pierced through the night and smashed into the back of the leader in black like a meteor. Wherever the fists went, the air exploded and the airflow surged. The powerful fists compressed the force to the extreme and exerted the attack power to the extreme. Bang! The leader in black was hit hard in the back. The fist force full of 2,500 kilograms of force directly shattered his spine and sent him flying. A large amount of blood spurted out of his mouth. Lurk close attack. Yi Qinfeng, wearing a human skin mask, completed a perfect sneak attack by relying on the soul-devouring tactics ability to hide his aura in the cover of the night. Spiritual beast, Black Bear. The leader in black was scared after his body was severely injured. He immediately released his soul power and condensed his spiritual beast, the Black Bear, to take him out of the dark forest. Do you think you can escape? Yi Qinfeng sneered. With a muffled sound under his feet, his whole body flew out like an arrow and chased after the fleeing leader in black. Although the Black Bear was good at both offense and defense, speed was its disadvantage. In just a dozen breaths, Yi Chunfeng caught up with him with a harsh sound of friction. Ow! Feeling that Yi Chunfeng was getting closer and closer, the black bear raised its head and roared. It suddenly turned around and raised its body, waving its sharp bear claws at Yi Chunfeng, trying to smash him in a meat paste. After completing the preliminary body tempering, Yi Chunfeng's physical strength reached 2,500 kilograms of force. As the cells in his body became active, the rolling force poured into his fist along the crisscrossing meridians in his body. The terrifying fist, with an unparalleled sense of oppression, hit the bear claw fiercely. The huge force shattered the black bear's claw and made it lose control of its body, throwing the leader in black on its back away. After the successful punch, Yi Chunfeng followed up with another attack. He punched out with both fists full of 2,500 kilograms of force. The terrible fist force squeezed and rubbed against the air in front of him, making a sound of metal exploding. It directly broke the sole defense of the black bear, smashed its body, and fell heavily to the ground, smashing a big hole in the hard ground. Art of devouring soul, devour, relying on his absolute strength to severely injure the black bear. Yi Chunfeng immediately activated the soul devouring incantation, forming a terrifying devouring vortex in his palm. He pressed it into the black bear's body, which was roaring in pain, and directly devoured it. Pooh! After Yi Chunfeng swallowed the black bear, the seriously injured leader in black immediately suffered a backlash. His soul was torn apart, and a large amount of blood flowed out of his 7 orifices. No, don't kill me. As long as you don't kill me, I can agree to any of your requests. Witnessing Yi Chunfeng devouring his spiritual beast black bear, the dying leader in black was scared and begged for mercy in a trembling voice. However, Yi Chunfeng was not an indecisive person. If he exposed the soul-devouring art, he would not allow the black-clothed leader to live in this world. With a crack, the black-clothed leader's neck was broken by Yi Chunfeng's foot. A large amount of blood sprayed out from the gap in his neck, dyeing the ground red. After killing the black-clothed leader, Yi Chunfeng checked his body. However, he did not find anything of value, so he revealed a trace of regret. He passed through the dense bushes and returned to the pitch-black forest to check on the 2 girls' injuries. Under the moonlight, the seriously injured Ji Qingxue and Bai Xia curled up together like 2 frightened kittens. Okay, it's okay. I've killed that man. You're safe now. Yi Chunfeng didn't want to expose his secret too early, so he didn't take off the human skin mask and deliberately change his voice. Thank you. Thank you for saving us. Bai Xia was grateful from the bottom of her heart. If Yi Chunfeng hadn't appeared in time to save her, she might have been dead by now. Although Ji Qingxue didn't say anything, her eyes were full of gratitude. However, she was also secretly sizing up Yi Chunfeng. This was because she vaguely felt a trace of familiarity from the outline of Yi Chunfeng's body. She wasn't the only one who felt this way. When Bai Xia looked at Yi Chunfeng, she also vaguely felt a sense of familiarity. After hesitating for a moment, Ji Qingxue still voiced the doubts in her heart and asked, "Why did you save us? Have we met before?" "I just happened to pass by and saved you in passing. We don't know each other." Yi Chunfeng replied with a hoarse voice. "Okay, it's not good to stay here for long. Let's leave here first to avoid any more accidents," Yi Chunfeng suggested as he walked to Ji Qingxue's side. Relying on his absolute power, he tore apart the soul threads binding Ji Qingxue's body. Okay, Ji Qingxue and Bai Xia nodded and stood up while supporting each other. They followed behind Yi Chunfeng and left the forest that was filled with the faint smell of blood. They came to the side of a slowly flowing stream that emitted a silver glow under the moonlight. "Go wash up by the stream. We'll spend the night here and go down the mountain tomorrow morning." Because the 2 women's soul injuries were too serious and the forest was too dangerous at night, Yi Chunfeng didn't dare to take them on a long journey to avoid aggravating their soul injuries. Okay, now that the crisis was over, Ji Qingxue and Bai Xia couldn't wait to wash off the bloodstains on their bodies. With the help of the bright moonlight, they slowly walked to the stream. Splash, splash. the stream water reached the two women's white calves. The two women gently bent down and continuously cupped their hands to wash their faces. Looking at the two beautiful figures in the stream that could arouse the interest of any man, Yi Chunfeng couldn't help but gulp. At this moment, he had to admit that Ji Qingxue and Bai Xia were indeed too charming. Huff! Yi Chunfeng took a deep breath and shifted his gaze away from the two girls. He sat cross-legged beside the stream and closed his eyes to regulate his breathing. He refined the black bear's soul power that he had devoured and fused it into the soul blood egg. Early in the morning, a red cloud shrouded the sun slowly rose, illuminating all things in the world. After healing for most of the night, the two women's soul injuries had basically stabilized. However, their soul injuries were too serious, and it would take them at least several days to fully recover. Just as the two women were about to wake Yi Chunfeng up and go down the mountain, suddenly, a powerful soul power fluctuation came from Yi Chunfeng's body, causing dense water ripples to appear in the air around him. This aura, could it be that he's about to break through? Sensing the changes in Yi Chunfeng's soul power, Ji Qingxue and Bai Xia obediently stayed by his side and waited patiently. Chapter 28. A fifth-grade spiritual beast. Could it be that he was only a fourth-grade spiritual beast when he killed that beast illusionist last night? Because Yi Chunfeng cultivated the soul-devouring art, it was very difficult for ordinary people to detect his true cultivation level. However, the moment Yi Chunfeng broke through, Ji Qingxue and the other woman accurately sensed his true strength. Knowing that Yi Chunfeng was only a fifth-grade spiritual beast after breaking through, Ji Qingxue and the other woman revealed a look of disbelief. They were shocked by his terrifying combat strength. This person must be hiding a big secret. Sensing Yi Chunfeng's extraordinariness, Ji Qingxue blinked her beautiful big eyes and developed a strong curiosity about him. It's daybreak. Let's go down the mountain. Yi Chunfeng exhaled a mouthful of turbid air and woke up from his cultivation. When he opened his deep eyes, rays of sharpness were released. Such bright eyes. Catching the radiance in Yi Chunfeng's eyes, Ji Qingxue's heart failed to live up to her expectations. She felt that Yi Chunfeng had a unique temperament that attracted her like a poison. After about 3 hours, Yi Chunfeng and the other two left the Baiyun mountain range and arrived at the bustling White Emperor city. All right, it should be safe here. Let's part here, Yi Chunfeng said as he looked at the majestic city gate of White Emperor city from afar. You wait. Seeing Yi Chunfeng leave, Ji Qingxue bit her moist lips and suddenly called out to him. What's the matter? Yi Chunfeng glanced at Ji Qingxue, who wanted to say something but hesitated and asked softly. What's your name? Where can I find you? Find me? Why are you looking for me? Don't misunderstand. I just want to repay you for saving my life. Ji Qingxue had never taken the initiative to ask about a man's situation. Looking at Yi Chunfeng's puzzled eyes, 2 intoxicating blushes appeared on her delicate face. Her heart was beating wildly as she explained coquettishly. There's no need. I never thought of repaying you for saving my life. Goodbye. With that, Yi Chunfeng did not linger. Under Ji Qingxue's disappointed gaze, he turned around and left. Qingxue, don't you think he looks like someone? Looking at Yi Chunfeng's departing back, Bai Xia suddenly felt that his back was very similar to Yi Chunfeng's. Like who? Chunfeng. Ji Qingxue said with a smile. Xia, you don't think he's Yi Chunfeng in disguise, do you? Besides, he doesn't have a spiritual beast. Even if he does, he doesn't have the ability to kill a beast illusionist. Don't let your imagination run wild. Thinking of the timid and stingy Yi Chunfeng, Ji Qingxue refused to believe that the first man to move her heart would be the Yi Chunfeng that she despised from the bottom of her heart. What? He Lang and the other two died by the White Lake? We've lost contact with He Sha. In an elegant courtyard house in the eastern part of White Emperor City, a young man in a black robe, with a slightly pale face, a hooked nose, and deeply sunken eyes, roared with an ugly expression. Trash, a bunch of trash. You can't even kidnap a person properly. Continue to contact He Sha. Once you get in touch with him, Immediately tell him to come see me. Also, continue to investigate Yi Chunfeng's whereabouts. Inform me immediately if you have any news." This furious young man was none other than the second young master of the Jiang family, Jiang Shanshui, who had brought experts to White Emperor City to take revenge on Yi Chunfeng and Bai Xia. All this time, Jiang Shanshui's life had been smooth sailing, and no one dared to go against his wishes. But he had never imagined that Ji Qingxue would not only refuse his marriage proposal, but also slap him in the face in the most direct and violent way. This made him deeply experience the feeling of humiliation. Every time he thought of Ji Qingxue privately pledging to marry a piece of trash and living together, Jiang Shanshui would be so angry that he wanted to kill someone. Yi Qinfeng, Ji Qingxue, this daddy will definitely let you know what regret is. This daddy will make that trash. Yi Chunfeng open his eyes wide and watch how I ravage a slut like you in bed. Jiang Shanshui revealed a sinister expression, his eyes filled with an ominous glint. After separating from Ji Qingxue and Bai Xia, Yi Chunfeng lingered outside White Emperor City for a while before returning to his original appearance and quietly returning to the small courtyard he had rented. Not long after Yi Chunfeng returned, Ji Qingxue also returned. Besides Bai Xia's grandfather, the #1 expert of White Emperor City, level 5 beast illusionist Bai Xishan, had also returned with her. Sensing Yi Chunfeng's presence in the room, Ji Qingxue requested, "Grandpa Bai Xia, I want to speak with Chunfeng alone. Can you wait for me in the courtyard?" "Okay, we will wait for you outside." Bai Xishan, who was wearing a white robe and had a red face and a vigorous aura, nodded and said. Ji Qingxue stood outside the room, lightly knocked on the door, and asked in a flat voice, "Chunfeng, I have some matters to discuss with you. Can I come in?" "The door is not locked. Come in," Yi Chunfeng replied softly. Pushing open the door and walking in, Ji Qingxue glanced at Yi Chunfeng, who was sitting on the edge of the bed and looking at her. Her eyes revealed a trace of disgust as she said, "Jiang Shanshui is here. Last night, Xia and I encountered danger." Ji Qingxue briefly told Yi Chunfeng what happened last night. "Are you going to leave?" Yi Chunfeng asked when he heard the hidden meaning in Xiao Chen's words. Ji Qingxue nodded and said, "Yes, White Emperor City is too dangerous right now. For safety reasons, I've already contacted grandfather. I estimate that the experts he sent will arrive at White Emperor City tonight. This is the 700,000 taels of silver that I owe you. Take it and leave White Emperor City as soon as possible. Find a place to conceal your identity to avoid losing your life. Also, from now on, we have nothing to do with each other. You're not allowed to announce to others that you're my fiancé." Ji Qingxue took out the 700,000 taels of silver that she borrowed from the Bai clan and handed it to Yi Chunfeng as she solemnly instructed him. "Don't worry, I will not speak carelessly, and I will not seek connections with your Ji clan." After Yi Chunfeng received the 700,000 taels of silver, he revealed a trace of sarcasm and said, "As for whether I leave or not, it is none of your business." "Yi Chunfeng, did you hear me? If you don't leave now, with Jiang Shanshui's character, he will not let you go." Ji Qingxue saw that Yi Chunfeng did not intend to leave and immediately became anxious. "Thank you for your concern, but I believe that Jiang Shanshui cannot kill me." Although Yi Chunfeng guessed that Jiang Shanshui still had beast illusionist experts by his side, he had broken through to the 5th level spiritual beast realm and completed the preliminary body tempering. With the golden needle talisman, he was not afraid. "Yi Chunfeng, are you crazy? Are you not afraid of death?" "All right, Ji Qingxue, now that we have nothing to do with each other, you don't need to worry about my life or death." Yi Chunfeng said coldly, "It is getting late. You should leave. Don't waste your time on me." "All right, Yi Chunfeng, I hope you don't regret your decision today." Chapter 29. "Qingxue, what's wrong with you?" Bai Xia, who was waiting outside, saw Ji Qingxue walk out angrily. She immediately went up and asked softly, "Nothing, let's go." Ji Qingxue shook her head and pulled Bai Xia away without any reluctance. They left the small courtyard that made her feel disgusted and disgusted. After Ji Qingxue and the other two left, Yi Chenfeng was not affected in the slightest. He cleared his mind of distracting thoughts and operated the soul-devouring art to swallow the low-grade soul crystal and continue to cultivate, consolidating his realm as a rank 5 spirit beast. As night fell, the soft light enveloped the entire White Emperor city, giving people a hazy feeling. Young Master Jiang. This courtyard is Yi Chenfeng's residence. According to the news sent back by our people, he is now in this courtyard. A middle-aged man in a gray robe, with slightly white hair and a thin bamboo sword in his hand, pointed at Yi Chenfeng's courtyard and said with a hoarse voice, "Damn, that bitch Ji Qingxue would rather live in this broken place with that trash Yi Chenfeng than agree to my marriage proposal." Looking at Yi Chenfeng's small courtyard through the dim light, Jiang Shanshui's self-esteem suffered another blow. Waves of anger burned in his heart, and he directly rushed in with his people. "Yi Chenfeng, you bastard, get out here." Jiang Shanshui's face revealed a sinister expression as he ordered arrogantly. "Jiang Shanshui, are you sick? Why are you yelling at me? I don't think I have provoked you." Yi Chenfeng, who was wearing a gray robe, walked out of the house and looked at the murderous Jiang Shanshui and the others, saying fearlessly, "Damn, you still dare to be stubborn when death is at hand. Do you really think you are still a genius of the Yi family and have the protection of the Yi family?" Hearing Yi Chenfeng's counterattack, Jiang Shanshui's face became extremely gloomy. The anger in his eyes was not concealed in the slightest. He ordered loudly, "You two, go and break that bastard's legs. Make him kneel and talk to me." "Yes, young Master Jiang." Two middle-aged men in black robes, who had reached the 6th-level spirit beast realm, respectfully obeyed the order. With a strong sense of oppression, they walked toward Yi Chenfeng step by step. Just as the two of them approached Yi Chenfeng and were about to attack, Yi Chenfeng, who was as straight as a spear, moved first. An oppressive force that suffocated the two of them erupted from Yi Chenfeng's body. It was like a ferocious flood, shattering the pressure they released and heavily bombarding their bodies, causing them to feel suffocated for a short period of time. Then, Yi Chenfeng suddenly took a step forward. His whole body emitted a ringing sound, and his strength intertwined. Then he punched both of his fists and bombarded the chests of the two 6th-grade spirit beasts. Not good. Feeling the horror of Yi Chenfeng's two punches, the two 6th-grade spirit beasts' faces changed greatly. Without thinking, they immediately released their soul power and condensed their spiritual beasts to resist. Their reaction could be said to be extremely fast, but Yi Chenfeng's attack speed was even faster. With two bang, bang, the two of them received heavy blows on their chests. His fists, which were filled with the force of 2,500 kilograms, smashed their sternum and severely injured their spiritual beasts that had fused into their bodies. They were sent flying more than 10 meters away, fell heavily on the ground, and fainted. "What?" Jiang Shanshui looked at the scene in front of him, dumbfounded. The look in his eyes was as if he had seen a ghost. How can he be so powerful? In Jiang Shanshui's opinion, pinching Yi Chenfeng to death was as easy as pinching an ant to death. However, the fact gave him a heavy blow, making him feel like he was in a dream. "Your Excellency has good means. You actually deceived us." The middle-aged man, who was holding a thin bamboo pole and a long sword, said in a hoarse voice. His eyes shot out rays of light as he stood in front of Jiang Shanshui. "Mr. Wu, cripple him for me." Thinking of Mr. Wu's strength as a rank 2 beast illusionist, Jiang Shanshui's uneasy heart calmed down a little. "Leave it to me." Mr. Wu nodded. The soul power in his mind burst forth, and a large snake covered in scales appeared in his mind. It circled above his head and hissed at Yi Chenfeng. "Yi Chenfeng, I don't care what kind of fortuitous encounter you had, but you are dead meat today. When I capture you later, I will use a knife to cut off your flesh and let you slowly die in pain." Jiang Shanshui looked at Yi Chenfeng ferociously, wanting to cut him into pieces. "Stop!" Just as Mr. Wu was about to fuse with his spiritual beast and make a move, an angry roar sounded under the dark night sky. Bai Xia suddenly appeared, accompanied by a family expert. What a beautiful girl. I didn't expect Beta Sheng to have such a stunning beauty. Jiang Shanshui looked at Bai Xia, who was wearing a white floral dress. Her figure was exquisite, and her skin was as smooth as jade. His eyes immediately lit up. Bai Xia, why is she here? Yi Chenfeng didn't expect Bai Xia to bring a family expert so late at night. He was slightly surprised. Bai Xia's appearance disrupted Yi Chenfeng's plan. Originally, even if he was no match for her, he could easily escape with his powerful physical strength. But now he couldn't do that. Once Bai Xia was captured, with Jiang Shanshui's means, her life would be ruined. Chenfeng, are you okay? Bai Xia walked quickly to Yi Chenfeng's side and asked with concern. I'm fine, but this place is too dangerous. You'd better leave quickly, Yi Chenfeng persuaded softly. If we leave together. Bai Xia looked at Yi Chenfeng's chiseled face and said stubbornly. Yi Chenfeng, I didn't expect a trash like you to have such good luck with women. Even I am a little envious of you. Jiang Shanshui looked at the slender and elegant Bai Xia as if she was his prey and said coldly, But today, none of you can leave. Miss, you leave first. I will take care of the rear. The Bai family expert felt a strong sense of danger from Mr. Wu and the blue-robed man beside Jiang Shanshui. He held a long spear and stood in front of Yi Chenfeng and Bai Xia, urging loudly. As soon as the Bai family expert finished speaking, Mr. Wu and the blue-robed man beside Jiang Shanshui attacked at the same time. 2 level 2 beast illusionists. Sensing the strength of the two, Yi Chenfeng also felt a little pressure. With his current strength, he could fight a level 1 beast illusionist alone, but he was definitely not a match for a level 2 beast illusionist. However, at that very moment, there was no time for him to retreat. A thunderous sound came from under Yi Chenfeng's feet. Like a cheetah, Yi Chenfeng rushed out towards the blue-robed man who wore a pair of scarlet gloves. Roar! A white rhinoceros loomed in his body. When he merged with his spiritual beast, the rhinoceros, his strength increased steadily. With a loud bang, Yi Chenfeng's and the blue-robed man's soul power fists collided. Powerful physical strength and soul power erupted at the same time, shaking the surrounding air to the point of exploding. Dang, dang, dang. Facing the blue-robed man's attack head-on, Yi Chenfeng's body trembled and his whole body retreated uncontrollably. A stream of blood flowed out from the corner of his mouth. After injuring Yi Chenfeng with one punch, the blue-robed man suppressed the rolling blood in his body and quickly closed in on Yi Chenfeng to continue to launch a fatal attack. He wanted to injure him in one go and end the battle. Chapter 30. It's over. The blue-robed man clenched his fist, and a terrifying soul power suddenly erupted, swinging away Yi Chenfeng's fist and smashing into his body, sending him flying like a kite with a broken string. He fell on the earth wall in the distance and smashed it down. Chenfeng. When Bai Xia saw that Yi Chenfeng was injured, she immediately released her soul power without thinking and condensed her spiritual beast, the white snake, to rescue him. Little beauty, why are you so excited? You'd better play with me. The moment Bai Xia fused with her spiritual beast, Jiang Shanshui appeared beside her in a flash, condensed his spiritual beast, the black spider, and pounced on her. Bai Xia was not a match for Jiang Shanshui, who was a 5th-level spirit beast. In addition, she was seriously injured, so she could not resist the attack of Jiang Shanshui's spiritual beast, the black spider. After about 3 breaths, Bai Xia was entangled by the white spider, silk spat out by the black spider, and could not move. Miss! When the Bai family's master saw that Bai Xia was in danger, he was shocked and wanted to abandon Mr. Wu and come to her rescue. However, Mr. Wu was still stronger than him. As Mr. Wu waved the thin bamboo sword in his hand, 3 beams of sharp sword energy shot out and sealed off his escape route. Little beauty, are you interested in that trash? Do you want me to invite you to watch a show? Watch me cut off his limbs, his flesh, and let him slowly die in pain. Looking at Bai Xia, who was firmly bound by the spider's silk and had a curvaceous figure, Jiang Shanshui's eyes immediately burned with passion and said crazily, No, no, please don't hurt Qingfeng. Bai Shi's heart trembled, and she begged for mercy with a pale face. Beg me? You beg me for that trash? Interesting, really interesting. Looking at Bai Shi's pleading eyes, the smile on Jiang Shanshui's face became wider, and he ordered loudly, Mr. Su, bring that trash to me. Yes, young Master Jiang. The blue-robed man revealed a sinister smile. He arrived in front of Yi Chunfeng, who was covered in blood and was pressed down by the yellow soil. Seeing Yi Chunfeng lying on the ground with a weak aura, the blue-robed man revealed a sinister smile. In his opinion, after suffering such a heavy blow, Yi Chunfeng was probably on his last breath. Just as he extended his hand to pull Yi Chunfeng up from the pile of dirt, Yi Chunfeng's originally dim eyes suddenly became sharp, like an unsheathed sword, stabbing into the blue-robed man's eyes, causing him to momentarily lose focus. Although it was only for an instant, it was enough for Yi Chunfeng to launch a fatal attack on him. Yi Chunfeng's fist was imbued with an invincible energy. He punched towards the blue-robed man's head at an extremely fast speed. In order to kill the blue-robed man in one fell swoop, Yi Chunfeng compressed his strength to the extreme. Wherever his fist went, the air exploded, directly breaking through the blue-robed man's soul force defense and heavily smashing into his head. Crack! With a sound, the blue-robed man's head suffered a heavy blow. A large number of cracks appeared on his head, and a large amount of blood spurted out uncontrollably. How could this be? Looking at the scene in front of him that was completely different from what he had imagined, the smile on Jiang Shanshui's face instantly froze. His eyes looked as if he had seen a ghost. The soul force defense of a rank 2 beast illusionist was beyond imagination. Yi Chunfeng originally thought that his punch, which was filled with 2,500 kilograms of force, would be able to smash his head, but the soul force in his head reduced most of it. Blood egg fuse. Yi Chunfeng took a deep breath. Ignoring the injuries on his body, he used the power of the spiritual beast blood egg for the first time. He fused it into his body and amplified his attack power. Soul force? How could that trash have soul force? Didn't he not have a spiritual beast? Jiang Shanshui couldn't believe what was happening in front of him. He was completely stunned. Die. After fusing with the blood egg, Yi Chunfeng's strength increased steadily. Endless blood light gathered in his palm, increasing his attack power by nearly 50%. The sudden increase in attack power greatly exceeded Yi Chunfeng's expectations. It was enough to show that the blood egg was extraordinary. Bang! The blue-robed man's head suffered another heavy blow. This time, Yi Chunfeng's fist, which was infused with soul force, directly smashed his head. A large amount of blood splattered on the ground. Heavenly Profound Needle suppressed the injuries. Yi Chunfeng took advantage of the blue-robed man's carelessness. After killing him, he immediately took out dozens of silver needles and pierced them into his own acupuncture points, forcibly suppressing the injuries on his body. Soul force, silver needles. Looking at the silver needles flying in the air and piercing into Yi Chunfeng's body, Bai Xia revealed a look of surprise. It's him, it's really him. Chunfeng is really Master Chun. How could this be? How could that trash be so powerful? He actually has the strength to kill Mr. Su. Seeing the blue-robed man's corpse fall heavily on the ground, Jiang Shanshui was shocked from the deepest part of his soul. He opened his mouth, but didn't say a word for a long time, and Mr. Wu was distracted because of this. Seizing this opportunity, the Bai family's expert immediately used his soul skill. A long snake-like spear light flew out and pierced towards Mr. Wu's chest. Shadow Sword. Mr. Wu, who couldn't dodge the soul skill attack of the Bai family's expert, immediately reacted and used his soul skill to counterattack. Puff puff. Two sounds. The two of them were attacked by each other's soul skills at the same time. Their spiritual beasts, which were defending with all their might, were severely injured. Don't come over. If you dare to come over, I'll kill her immediately. Seeing Yi Chunfeng quickly approaching him, Jiang Shanshui, who came back to his senses, immediately pulled Bai Xia, who was entangled in spider silk and couldn't move, in front of him and threatened loudly. I know you won't, because you know very well the consequences of hurting her. Yi Chenfeng said with a murderous intent. You're right, I won't kill her, but I dare to scratch her face. Jiang Shanshui deliberately stroked by Xia's smooth and delicate face and threatened coldly. Don't you think it'll be a pity if I scratch such a beautiful face? Let her go, and I'll let you go. Yi Chenfeng said with an ugly expression. For Bai Xia, he made a concession. I can let her go, but it depends on whether you're obedient. Jiang Shanshui looked at Yi Chenfeng's gloomy face and said with a cold smile. What do you want? Yi Chenfeng's eyes flickered with sharpness as he asked in a low voice. Break your own meridians and surrender obediently. Jiang Shanshui ordered loudly. No, Chenfeng, don't listen to him. Even if you break your own meridians, he won't let us go. Hearing Jiang Shanshui's order, Bai Xia, whose beautiful face turned pale, shouted loudly. Damn it, if you talk nonsense again, I'll scratch your face. Jiang Shanshui firmly held Bai Xia's neck and warned fiercely. Looking at Bai Xia's pained face, Yi Chenfeng took a deep breath and said in a serious tone, Fine, you win. I can agree to break my own meridians, but you have to promise me that after you break your own meridians, you can't hurt her. Otherwise, we'll fight to the death. Fine, I promise you. As long as you break your own meridians, I won't hurt her. Jiang Shanshui showed a complacent smile and agreed. I hope you can keep your promise. Otherwise, I won't let you go even if I become a ghost. Yi Chenfeng said with clenched fists. Chapter 31. Chenfeng, looking at the blood-soaked Yi Chenfeng, Bai Xia felt like her heart was being cut by a knife. Tears flowed uncontrollably as she cried out in pain. Haha, Yi Chenfeng, I find that you are so silly that you are cute. Do you really think that I will let you go if you break your own meridians? Jiang Shanshui laughed wantonly. He held the tearful Bai Xia hostage and came to his side. Jiang Shanshui, if you are willing to let Chenfeng go, I am willing to agree to any of your requests, Bai Xia said while sobbing in pain. Little beauty, what right do you have to bargain with me? Jiang Shanshui revealed a playful smile and said, After I torture him to death, I will love you well. I really can't wait to press you under me. As he spoke, Jiang Shanshui, who was beside himself with joy, took out a sharp dagger from his chest. He looked at Yi Chenfeng, who was lying in a pool of blood, and said mockingly, Let me see if your meridians are completely broken. If they are not, I will help you well. No. Seeing that Yi Chenfeng was about to be killed, Bai Xia panicked and screamed in pain. However, the spider silk that bound her contained powerful soul power. All her efforts were in vain. No, you didn't break your own meridians. How dare you lie to me? When Jiang Shanshui checked the condition of Yi Chenfeng's body, he found that he had only exploded his flesh and did not break his meridians. He was furious. However, at this moment, a terrifying killing intent suddenly erupted from Yi Chenfeng. He was like a wolf that had been lying in wait for a long time. He bared his fangs and was filled with killing intent. The next moment, a golden light flashed in front of Jiang Shanshui. Before he could react, the golden light pierced his arm that was holding Bai Xia hostage and twisted his arm into pieces on the spot. After using the only golden needle talisman to severely injure Jiang Shanshui, Yi Chenfeng bounced up from the ground and threw out a powerful punch. It landed on Jiang Shanshui's chest at close range. With a cracking sound, Jiang Shanshui's chest caved in and several of his ribs were shattered. His entire body flew more than 10 meters away before crashing heavily onto the ground. Covered in blood, Yi Chenfeng patted Bai Xia's head and said softly, It's all right now. Just stand there and don't move. I'll avenge you. Yi Chenfeng, you can't kill me. If you kill me, my Jiang family will never let you off. Looking at Yi Chenfeng's awe-inspiring gaze, the fear that Jiang Shanshui had painstakingly suppressed erupted like a volcano, occupying his face as he begged for mercy. Jiang Shanshui, you're so silly that you're cute. Do you think I'll let you go at a time like this? Yi Chenfeng revealed a mocking smile as he purposely borrowed Jiang Shanshui's words. Yi Chenfeng, don't you dare hurt young Master Jiang. Mr. Wu, who had fought with the Bai family's master until both sides were injured, saw that Yi Chunfeng was in danger. He struggled to stand up and rushed toward Yi Chunfeng with a long sword that was as thin as a bamboo pole in his hand. Shadow Sword. Mr. Wu gathered all the soul power in his body into his long sword. Streaks of shadow sword chi flew out and pierced toward Yi Chunfeng's body. However, Mr. Wu was too heavily injured, and the speed and power of his Shadow Sword soul skill were greatly reduced. Yi Chunfeng, who was prepared in advance, dodged them. After dodging the Shadow Sword soul skill, Yi Chunfeng approached Mr. Wu with a sidestep and launched a tidal wave of attacks at him. Black Spider attack. Jiang Shanshui knew that if Mr. Wu wasn't a match for him, death would await him. He immediately summoned his spiritual beast, the Black Spider, and cooperated with Mr. Wu to counterattack Yi Chunfeng. Blood Egg fuse. As the Black Spider attacked, Yi Chunfeng fused with the Blood Egg again to increase his attack power. Waves of blood-colored soul power gathered in his palms. Yi Chunfeng punched out with both fists, bringing with it a sharp wind. The friction between the wind and the air produced a deep sonic boom. He punched the Black Spider that was close to him and exploded it. Following that, Yi Chunfeng quickly turned around and engaged in a fierce battle with the heavily injured Mr. Wu. Mr. Wu was already an arrow at the end of its flight, and Yi Chunfeng, who had fused with the healing light, became more and more courageous. Soon, Mr. Wu, who was getting more and more injured, couldn't resist Yi Chunfeng's fierce attacks. He was sent flying by a punch and fainted in a pool of blood. Jiang Shanshui, who was bleeding from his 7 orifices, was scared silly when he saw Mr. Wu lying in a pool of blood. His body seemed to have gone crazy, and he couldn't help but tremble. Yi Chunfeng, I was wrong. I really know that I was wrong. Please spare me. I won't dare to be your enemy anymore. In order to survive, Jiang Shanshui gave up his dignity and begged Yi Chunfeng bitterly, begging him to let him go. Slap! Yi Chunfeng was unmoved by Jiang Shanshui's pleas. He suddenly raised his right hand, and a crisp slap rang out. Not only did the enormous force shatter Jiang Shanshui's jaw, it even sent him flying. Yi Chunfeng, my grandfather knows that I came to White Emperor City. If something happens to me in White Emperor City, he will definitely investigate this matter. At that time, it will be difficult for you to escape death, Jiang Shanshui shouted. Is that so? Yi Chunfeng's lips curled up, revealing a cold smile that was difficult to detect. Then let's have a good talk. If you can move me, perhaps I will change my mind and spare you. Good. As long as you are willing to let me go, I can agree to any of your requests. Seeing that there was a chance, the heavily injured Jiang Shanshui was so excited that he wanted to cry. Chunfeng, you can't trust him. He is a despicable person, Xia anxiously advised. Don't worry. I know what I am doing. Yi Chunfeng revealed a gentle smile, untied her body, and said, wait for me here. After that, Yi Chunfeng took Jiang Shanshui and the unconscious Mr. Wu into the house. Yi Chunfeng, what do you want to let me go? I could be your dog. I will bite whoever you want me to. Jiang Shanshui, whose soul was seriously injured and collapsed on the ground, begged for mercy very weakly. Jiang Shanshui, do you really think I will let you go? The reason why Yi Chunfeng didn't kill him instantly with the Golden Needle Talisman and wanted to talk to him alone was that he wanted to devour his and Mr. Wu's spiritual beasts. Once a person died, his or her spiritual beast would also turn to ashes. Seeing the killing intent in Yi Chunfeng's eyes, Jiang Shanshui felt like he was being stared at by the Grim Reaper. Just as he was scared out of his wits, Yi Chunfeng suddenly made a move and pressed his right hand hard on his head. In the next moment, a powerful devouring force surged into his mind like a big devouring mouth, devouring his spiritual beast. However, Jiang Shanshui was at the same level as Yi Chunfeng. After devouring his spiritual beast, the Black Spider, Yi Chunfeng didn't produce much pure soul power in his body. After devouring Jiang Shanshui's spiritual beast, Yi Chunfeng immediately went to the unconscious Mr. Wu's side and used the soul-devouring tactic to devour his spiritual beast as well. Mr. Wu was a level 2 beast illusionist, and his spiritual beast was extremely powerful. After devouring his spiritual beast, Yi Qinfeng immediately produced a large amount of pure soul power in his body and merged with the blood egg. Chapter 32. Qinfeng, where's Jiang Shanshui? You're not really going to let him go, are you? Seeing Yi Qinfeng walk out of the house covered in blood, Bai Xia immediately went up to him and asked worriedly, Jiang Shanshui is already dead. Yi Qinfeng said in a low voice, looking at Bai Xia with a burning gaze. Although he wanted to minimize Jiang Shanshui's death, he couldn't bear to kill Bai Xia and the other person. Furthermore, he had performed outstandingly in the White Emperor Martial House's year-end assessment and obtained the qualification to enter the Sky Fire Martial House. This would definitely arouse the Jiang family's suspicion. Thinking about the threat of the Jiang family, the number one family in the Zijin Kingdom, Yi Qinfeng felt that this was a thorny problem. However, once Yi Qinfeng became a disciple of the Sky Fire Martial House, even if the matter was exposed, the Jiang family wouldn't dare to directly take revenge on him. Great, that scum is finally dead. Qinfeng, thank you. You've saved me once again. Bai Xia let out a long sigh of relief. She looked at Yi Qinfeng with a gentle gaze and said gratefully. After seeing Yi Qinfeng's powerful strength, Bai Xia was completely sure that the person she had been searching for and the person who had saved her and Ji Qingxue from the evil clutches last night was Yi Qinfeng. Xia, although Jiang Shanshui deserved to die, if the Jiang family knew that he died in our hands, not only me, but even your Bai family will suffer the Jiang family's bloody revenge. Yi Qinfeng said seriously. Young Master Yi, don't worry. My Bai family will take care of everything. We will try our best to hide the fact that Jiang Shanshui died in White Emperor City. The heavily injured Bai family expert crawled up from the ground and promised. That's good. Yi Qinfeng nodded and said. He thought that the Bai family was indeed more afraid of the consequences of Jiang Shanshui's death. After all, with his strength, there was a high chance that he could escape the Jiang family expert's pursuit. However, the Bai family had no chance of escaping. Qinfeng, I want to talk to you in private. Is that okay? Bai Xia blinked her big eyes and looked at Yi Qinfeng expectantly. Let me deal with this first, then we can talk outside. Yi Qinfeng guessed the purpose of Bai Xia looking for him, nodded and said, Young Master Yi, leave this to me. I'm good at destroying corpses and erasing evidence. I'll take care of everything here. You and young Miss can talk outside. The Bai family expert took a healing pill and stabilized his injuries. Well, Xia, wait for me for a while. I'll change my clothes and come out. After saying that, Yi Qinfeng returned to the house, wiped off the bloodstains on his body, changed into a bloody robe, and walked out of the house with Bai Xia. Because the house Yi Qinfeng rented was very remote and there were few people around, coupled with the darkness of the night, no one was alarmed by the fierce battle just now. Qinfeng, the Master Chun who saved my grandfather was you in disguise, right? Walking on the bumpy dirt road, Bai Xia kept looking at Yi Qinfeng out of the corner of her eyes. Looking at his chiseled side profile, which was like a black gem, and staring into his innocent eyes, Bai Xia's cheeks turned slightly red, and her heart skipped a beat. She took a deep breath, broke the silence, and asked, Yes, it's me. Yi Qinfeng nodded and didn't hide it anymore. Because at this time, some things could no longer be hidden. The person who saved me and Qingxue last night was also you, right? Bai Xia stopped and looked at Yi Qinfeng up close and asked, Yes, the person who saved you last night was also me. Since it was you, why didn't you admit it when I recognized you? Why did you disguise yourself when you saved us last night? Bai Xia asked the question in her heart. If Qingxue knew that the person who saved her last night was you, she would definitely change her opinion of you. Moreover, if you can heal her grandfather's old injury, I think the Ji family will definitely agree to your marriage. Do you really want to hear the truth? Yi Qinfeng pondered for a moment and asked. Yes, I want to hear it very much. Are you willing to tell me? Bai Xia nodded and said, Okay, I'll tell you, but you must promise me to keep it a secret and not reveal it to a third person. Yi Qinfeng took a deep breath and solemnly instructed. I swear, if I mention your secret to a third person, I will be struck by lightning and die a horrible death. Bai Xia swore in front of everyone. Actually, the main reason why I hid everything was because I was hiding it from Qingxue. The existence of the soul-devouring brain was too heaven-defying, so Yi Chunfeng didn't dare to reveal it easily. He could only push the reason to Qing Xue. Hiding it from Qing Xue? Isn't she your fiancée? Why did you hide it from her? Bai Xia asked in puzzlement, the curiosity in her heart growing stronger. Fiancé? Yi Chunfeng laughed self-deprecatingly and said, that was just an act for outsiders to see. The relationship between us originated from a deal. Yi Chunfeng briefly told the whole story to Bai Xia. How could this be? How could she be so willful and disregard your safety and use you as a shield? Doesn't she know the danger of this matter? When Bai Xia learned the truth, she immediately felt injustice for Yi Chunfeng. She also understood why Yi Chunfeng kept hiding his secret. It was because he would definitely be killed if he revealed his true strength. However, in addition to being angry, Bai Xia was also secretly delighted. Her gaze towards Yi Chunfeng became even gentler. All right, it's getting late. Let's go back. Although Yi Chunfeng could feel Bai Xia's affection for him from her eyes, he had vowed to pursue the boundless Tao and cultivate supreme divine abilities. He could only put aside his personal feelings for her. Xingfeng, it's best if you don't stay in that place of yours. If you don't mind, you can stay in my house. There are many places you can stay in my house. Bai Xia invited. Thank you, but I'll be going to the White Cloud Mountain Range to cultivate and prepare for the White Emperor Martial House's year-end examination in a month. Yi Chunfeng shook his head and tactfully refused Bai Xia. All right then. If you need anything, you can look for me. I will fully support you. Bai Xia said with a little disappointment. All right. Yi Chunfeng nodded and agreed. When Yi Chunfeng and Bai Xia returned to the Earth Courtyard side by side, the Bai family's experts had basically taken care of everything. The bloodstains on the ground and walls were completely covered by the yellow soil. Jiang Shanshui and the others' corpses were dug and buried by them. Once the thick scent of blood in the air completely dissipated, no one would be able to detect any clues in the courtyard. Looking at the scene in the courtyard, Yi Chunfeng was very satisfied. If it were him, he definitely wouldn't have been able to do so well. Eldest Miss, it's getting late. Let's go back. We need to tell the city lord and elder by about what happened tonight as soon as possible. Only then can we cover up the truth and divert the Jiang family's anger. The Bai family's experts saw Yi Chunfeng and Bai Xia return and urged them. Chunfeng, we'll go first. Take good care of yourself. If you need anything, come find me. Bai Xia reluctantly said and left with the Bai family's expert. Chapter 33. In the tranquil night, the moonlight shone brightly and the cold air assaulted everyone. Last night, I just broke through to become a rank 5 spirit beast. If I make another breakthrough today, it might cause my foundation to be unstable and affect my future cultivation. After devouring the soul beasts of Jiang Shanshui and Lu Yuanshan, Yi Chunfeng had accumulated enough soul power for him to break through to the rank 6 spirit beast realm. However, the cultivation experience in the God Eater's mind told him that the foundation was very important. If the foundation was unstable at the beginning, the higher the cultivation level, the harder it would be, and it would affect his combat strength. He had to completely consolidate his rank 5 spirit beast realm and lay down a solid foundation. Only when his body was filled with soul power would it be the best time to break through to the rank 6 spirit beast realm. And the best way to temper one's foundation was to fight. Only by constantly fighting could one lay down a solid foundation. Although the White Emperor Martial House had specialized training rooms that could be rented as long as one paid enough money, Yi Chunfeng chose to temper himself in the White Cloud Mountain Range. A cool breeze blew. Yi Chunfeng was like a lurking cheetah as he hid in a lush thicket. With the help of the bright moonlight, he looked at a gloomy valley in the distance. In this valley, there were over 20 foxes of various sizes. Foxes could be said to be the overlords of the White Cloud Mountain Range. They were as cunning as foxes and had fierce temperaments. They liked to live in groups, and using foxes as training targets was extremely dangerous. Even if it was the black fur violent bear that had extraordinary strength and could tear apart a rank 1 beast illusionist expert, it would still be in danger if it was surrounded by foxes. However, Yi Chenfeng wanted to temper himself through death. Only when he felt the threat of death could he stimulate his body's potential and achieve the effect of tempering himself. Ooh. Yi Chenfeng adjusted his breathing as he approached the valley. He slowly approached a 3-meter-long foxes with fox ears and fangs that were tearing apart an elk. Bang! After locking onto his target, Yi Chenfeng exerted strength in his legs and stomped on the ground. With lightning speed, he launched an attack at the foxes. When the fox sensed danger and tried to dodge, Yi Chenfeng's fist hit its head. The sound of bones breaking rang out as the fox wolf's head was blown apart by Yi Chenfeng's punch. Its huge body was sent flying by gravity and smashed into the silent valley, alarming all the fox wolves in the valley. Oh! For a moment, wolf howls filled the air. The ferocious foxes and wolves stared at Yi Chenfeng with blood-red eyes and launched a frenzied retaliatory attack. Come on! Yi Chenfeng didn't dodge when he saw the foxes baring their fangs and pouncing toward him. Instead, he bravely met them head-on. He charged into the pack of foxes and wolves and began to fight fiercely. Caught in the pack of foxes and wolves, Yi Chenfeng immediately fell into a passive position. The ferocious foxes and wolves tore at his body crazily, biting him until he was covered in wounds. Blood dripped down his clothes and onto the ground. It was a ghastly sight. As his injuries continued to worsen, Yi Chenfeng's physical potential was also stimulated bit by bit. He quickly integrated the power of the spiritual beast blood egg to stabilize his injuries. His fists continuously erupted with more than 2,500 kilograms of strength, smashing the foxes and wolves that were pouncing on him away. Early in the morning, the first rays of the morning sun shone through the clouds and onto the earth, awakening all things in the world. Oh! As the last fox wolf let out a painful howl, its huge body slammed heavily into the stone wall on the side, cracking it. It fell into a pool of blood and lay motionless. Huff, huff, I finally killed all 28 foxes and wolves. Looking at the corpses of the foxes and wolves, Yi Chenfeng, who was on the verge of collapse and covered in wounds, lay on the ground, panting heavily. He didn't want to move at all. After a night of killing, Yi Chenfeng felt that the soul power in his body had integrated into the blood egg. He could definitely break through to the realm of a Class 6 spiritual beast. However, Yi Chenfeng forcefully condensed his soul power and suppressed his realm. He was only waiting for the soul power contained in the blood egg to reach the limit before making a breakthrough. Life and death tempering is indeed the best way to improve one's strength. Feeling the change in his realm, Yi Chenfeng's pale face revealed a faint smile. He was determined to continue tempering himself. About an hour later, Yi Chenfeng, who had basically recovered his physical strength, left a valley that was filled with a strong smell of blood. He came to a small stream, washed his body, ate something, and continued to look for training targets. Just as he was tirelessly tempering himself in the Baiyun mountain range, the Jiang family in the imperial city was enraged because of the mysterious disappearance of Jiang Shanshui and the others. You still haven't found Shanshui and the others? In the Jiang family's old residence, the Jiang family's helmsman, Jiang Zhongxiong, who was wearing a dark golden robe and was emitting a strong, baleful aura, smashed a square table with a palm strike as he questioned angrily. Reporting to Master, the experts we sent to White Emperor City have yet to find anything. However, according to our investigation, during the few days young Master Jiang went missing, the experts of the Ji family appeared in White Emperor City. Young Master Jiang's people seem to have clashed with Ji Qingxue. A Bai family expert wearing silver armor reported in fear. Ji family, how dare they? Jiang Zhongxiong ordered with a gloomy face. Continue the investigation. If we find out that Shanshui's disappearance is related to the Ji family, I will make them pay a painful price. At the same time, the Ji family also received the news of Jiang Shanshui's disappearance. Qingxue, tell me honestly, who was the person who saved you? Was he the one who caused Jiang Shanshui's disappearance? Ji Qingxue's grandfather, Ji Yanzheng, felt the seriousness of the situation and asked solemnly. Once the Jiang family suspected that the Ji family had something to do with Jiang Shanshui's disappearance, the two families would likely fight to the death. This was something Ji Yinzheng did not want to see. Grandfather, I've already said that I don't know him. However, Jiang Shanshui's death is definitely not related to him. He is only a level 5 spiritual beast tamer. It is impossible for him to kill Jiang Shanshui, Ji Qingxue said, hiding the fact that Yi Qinfeng's combat strength was far beyond his level. Sai, who did it? If we can't find the culprit, the Jiang family will most likely vent their anger on our Ji family. At that time, our Ji family will be in a very dangerous situation. Ji Yinzheng sighed deeply, his voice filled with worry. Grandfather, is the Jiang family really so scary now? Ji Qingxue asked with a frown as she looked at Ji Yinzheng's worried face. If it was a year ago, our Ji family's overall strength was not as good as the Jiang family's. However, in this year, my old injuries have been relapsing more frequently. My strength is not as good as before. Jiang Zhongxiong's eldest grandson, Jiang Yijuan, has been cultivating in the Sky Fire Martial House for 2 years. His strength has increased by leaps and bounds. A few days ago, he broke through to become a level 4 beast illusionist. More importantly, the Jiang family's first prince has completely overshadowed the second prince that our Ji family is attached to. This has caused the situation in the imperial court to change. If the Jiang family disregards everything and makes a move on our Ji family, our Ji family will most likely be isolated. Ji Yinzheng told Ji Qingxue the severity of the situation. Grandfather, if the Jiang family insists on using this matter to deal with us, will we not be able to retaliate? After understanding the Jiang family situation, Ji Qingxue felt the severity of the situation. Unless I can heal my old injuries in a short time and break through to a level 1 Earth Beast General, where the second prince regains his power, we will be able to intimidate the Jiang family. However, this is almost impossible. Ji Yinjing took a deep breath. His voice was filled with helplessness and worry. Grandfather, what if we can find that Master Chun who cured Grandfather Bai? Ji Qingxue asked, as an idea flashed through her mind. If that Master Chun is really related to the sect, perhaps he can help our Ji family tide over this crisis. Chapter 34. Time flew by, and a month passed in the blink of an eye. 8,000 genes of strength erupt. Yi Chunfeng, whose entire body was covered in blood, suddenly took a step forward. The blood and flesh in his entire body resonated with each other, and his surging strength fused with the soul power released by the blood egg. Like a surging tide, it surged into his arms and heavily smashed into the chest of a 6-meter-tall, pitch-black, black-furred violent bear with blood-red eyes. With a cracking sound, the black-furred bear, which was known for its strength, was sent flying by Yi Qinfeng's fists. Its furry chest completely caved in, and a large amount of blood and organs sprayed out from its mouth. One of the overlords of the White Cloud Mountain Range, the black-furred bear, was killed by Yi Chunfeng with a single punch. It lay motionless in a pool of its own blood. After killing the black-furred bear, Yi Qinfeng's spirit beast blood egg cracked open with a 5th crack. Surging soul force poured into his meridians like a flood. At this time, Yi Chunfeng couldn't suppress his cultivation even if he wanted to. After the blood egg's energy overflowed, he naturally broke through to the 6th rank spirit beast realm. Moreover, he didn't need to consolidate his cultivation for it to stabilize. Phew, it's time to return to White Emperor City and participate in the White Emperor Martial House's end-of-year examination. I wonder what the final outcome of Jiang Shanshui's death was. Did the Bai family betray me? Yi Chunfeng let out a breath of turbid air. He took a bath in the deep pool of the mountain, changed into a new set of clothes, and left the White Cloud Mountain Range, returning to White Emperor City. Because he was worried that the Bai family wouldn't be able to withstand the pressure and betray him, Yi Chunfeng disguised himself and put on a human skin mask. He inquired about some news in White Emperor City. When he learned that the Jiang family experts who had turned White Emperor City upside down a few days ago had already left and that White Emperor city had returned to peace, he let out a sigh of relief. After confirming that the Bai family hadn't betrayed him, Yi Qinfeng relaxed. He settled down in an inn and waited for the White Emperor Martial House's end-of-year examination to begin the next morning. Early in the morning, the first rays of the morning sun dyed the sky red. It was like a beautiful painting that made one feel relaxed and happy. After eating breakfast at the inn, Yi Qinfeng walked towards the White Emperor Martial House under the morning sun. Because today was the day of the White Emperor Martial House's year-end examination, the White Emperor Martial House became very lively. Almost all of the Martial House's students who had gone out to experience the world had returned. Yo, am I seeing things? Isn't that Yi Qinfeng? I didn't expect you to really dare to come today. I thought you were too scared to show up after provoking young Master Lian. Yi Qinfeng had just arrived at the entrance of the White Emperor Martial House when a sarcastic voice entered his ears. Diwan Xian, who was dressed in gorgeous clothes and had a malicious smile on his face, appeared with 3 other White Emperor City profligate sons, blocking Yi Qinfeng's path. Diwan Xian, I realize that you are really a good dog by Lian Yulong's side. Being a dog like you can be considered a kind of realm. Hearing Di Wanxian's ridicule, Yi Qinfeng wasn't angry. This was because in front of him, Diwan Xian was nothing but a clown. Motherfucker, Yi Qinfeng, who are you calling a dog? Hearing Yi Qinfeng's ridicule, Diwan Xian flew into a rage and angrily questioned him. I called you a dog. What can you do to me? Yi Qinfeng looked at Diwan Xian, who was fuming with anger, and said without any trace of politeness. You? Diwan Xian was so angry that his lungs almost exploded. He didn't think that Yi Qinfeng would be so arrogant, even when he was about to die. But when he thought about how incomparably strong Yi Qinfeng was, he knew that he wasn't a match for him. He could only grit his teeth and swallow his anger, not daring to attack. Scram! Don't be an eyesore in front of me. Yi Qinfeng coldly ordered Diwan Xian, who was blocking his path. And if I don't, Diwan Xian took a deep breath and said unyieldingly, then I'll make you regret it. Yi Qinfeng sneered. He didn't hold back at all as he released the killing intent that had been accumulated through blood and bones. It smashed into the depths of Di Wanxian's heart, instantly destroying his psychological defenses. It made him feel as if he had fallen into hell. His legs trembled and he fell to the ground. Diwan Xian, you are too weak. Seeing the pale and ragged Diwan Xian, Yi Qinfeng couldn't be bothered to pay attention to him. He walked past him and entered the White Emperor Martial House. Yi Qinfeng, don't be complacent. Young Master Lian will definitely avenge me. Watching Yi Qinfeng's back, Diwan Xian, who had lost a lot of face, swore in his heart. After entering the White Emperor Martial House, Yi Qinfeng went directly to the martial arts plaza where the examination was held. He was waiting for the examination to begin. The White Emperor Martial House's year-end examination was very simple. It was a martial arts competition. The results of the competition would determine one's ranking. Yi Qinfeng waited in the martial arts plaza for about 10 minutes. Suddenly, he felt a cold aura lock onto him. He turned his head and coincidentally met the eyes of the White Emperor Martial House's #1 genius, Lian Yulong. Yi Qinfeng, today I will beat you into a dead dog in front of everyone so that you won't have the courage to stay in White Emperor City. Lian Yulong's eyes flickered with an ominous glint as he said this. I'll be waiting, Yi Qinfeng replied and turned his head away, no longer paying attention to Lian Yulong. Aside from Lian Yulong, there was another person in the crowd who was paying attention to Yi Qinfeng. It was Qiao Jinyuan, the person he had saved. She wanted to pass the examination and confirm if Yi Qinfeng was the person who had saved her that night. As the examination time approached, the stands were filled with people. The Bai family's mainstay, Bai Shishan, White Emperor City's lord, Bai Jiang Shui, and the exquisitely dressed and beautiful Bai Xia all appeared in the stands, paying attention to Yi Qinfeng's examination results. When Bai Xia saw the outstanding and elegant Yi Qinfeng in the crowd, her delicate face couldn't help but reveal a look of anticipation. She was looking forward to him displaying his invincible might and suppressing the crowd. All right, everyone quiet down. Today is the day of the White Emperor Martial House's year-end examination. Because the Sky Fire Martial House's quota is very limited, our White Emperor Martial House has only managed to obtain one quota. Therefore, this year, only the person who obtains first place will be qualified to enter the Sky Fire Martial House for the final examination. The White Emperor Martial House's master, a white-haired old man, stood in the main stands and announced loudly, "There's only one quota. Then this quota will definitely belong to you, young Master Lien." Diwanxian seemed to have changed into a different person, flattering him with a charming smile. "That's for sure. With young Master Lien's strength, not to mention the White Emperor Martial House, even in the Sky Fire Martial House, you would be a genius second to none." The hedonistic young masters clustered around Lien Yulong flattered him one after another. "You can't say that. Those who can become a disciple of the Sky Fire Martial House are all geniuses among geniuses. However, give me some time. I am confident that I can create glory in the Sky Fire Martial House." Lien Yulong said arrogantly, his face full of pride. It was as if the quota for the Sky Fire Martial House's examination had already been decided by him. "All right, the Sky Fire Martial House's year-end examination has begun. Everyone can go on stage to challenge." The White Emperor Martial House's master announced loudly. Chapter 35. As you wish. Yi Chenfeng didn't expect Lien Yulong to challenge him as soon as he came up. The corners of his mouth curled up slightly, revealing a cold smile that was hard to detect. He leaped up and landed on the battle stage, facing Lien Yulong from afar. This child Yulong, why is he in such a hurry to go on stage? He doesn't even know how to give others a chance. Lien family patriarch Lien Wansong grumbled, but his face was filled with pride. With Yulong's strength, it doesn't matter if he goes on stage early or late. He is destined to be first in the White Emperor Martial House's year-end assessment. Patriarch Lien, let us congratulate you first. Many of White Emperor City's vassals opened their mouths to congratulate Lien Wansong, causing him to be overjoyed. Not far away, Bai Xia was very angry. Seeing his granddaughter's angry appearance, Bai Xishan gently patted her small white hand and said, "Watch the match carefully. Everything depends on strength. Yi Chenfeng, I won't bully you. Seeing that you don't have a weapon, I'll let you have 3 moves. In these 3 moves, I will only defend and not attack." Lien Yulong looked at the unarmed Yi Chenfeng and deliberately said magnanimously, "Good job, young Master Lien. Let this trash know the difference between us. Young Master Lien, beat this trash into a dead dog. Let him know how powerful we are." Hearing Lien Yulong's overbearing voice, Diwanxian and the others raised their voices and cheered for Lien Yulong. Yi Chenfeng didn't care about the ridicule in his ears. He calmly looked at Lien Yulong and said, "I hope you can last through the 3rd move." "Haha, Yi Chenfeng, do you really think you have a chance just because I let you have 3 moves?" Lien Yulong revealed a disdainful smile and ridiculed, "I find that you are so naive that you are cute. Whether I am naive or not, we will know in a while." Yi Chenfeng's eyes revealed a sharp light as he said in a low voice, "This child Yulong has the demeanor of a great general. Amazing. Yes, Yulong is the #1 genius of White Emperor City. It won't be long before he can surpass the older generation." Just as everyone was thinking highly of Lien Yulong, an incongruous cheer suddenly sounded. "Changfeng, do your best." Following the source of the voice, Yi Chenfeng saw the devastatingly beautiful Bai Xia with light makeup sitting in the stands, cheering for him with a flushed face. Yi Chenfeng smiled at Bai Xia, and the skin all over his body began to vibrate. A sound like muffled thunder came from under his feet. His whole body suddenly leaned forward and rushed towards Lien Yulong with a strong sense of oppression. How can this be? How can the pressure from his body be so terrifying? The cold smile on Lien Yulong's face instantly froze when he felt the oppressive power erupting from Yi Chenfeng's body. He couldn't believe that Yi Chenfeng, who didn't have any soul power fluctuations, could erupt with such terrifying physical strength. He hurriedly merged with his soul beast, the iron-mouthed crocodile, to increase his own soul power. Bang! Yi Chenfeng's right fist, which contained a force of 5,000 kilograms, shattered the layers of air and hit the long spear in front of Lien Yulong's chest. Then, a terrifying vibration passed through the long spear and into Lien Yulong's arm. The vibration made his arm numb, and the web between his thumb and forefinger bled. He couldn't hold the long spear in his hand at all, causing the long spear to fall from his hand and heavily smash into his chest. Two of his sternum were directly broken, and the aura in his body was violently tumbling. A mouthful of blood surged into his mouth, but he forced it back down. However, swallowing this mouthful of blood caused the blood in his body to be even more turbulent, aggravating his injuries. I didn't expect you to be able to block my punch. You're quite capable. Yi Chenfeng looked at the red-faced and disorderly Lien Yulong and smiled faintly. There are two more moves. Get ready. As soon as Yi Chenfeng finished speaking, Lien Yulong's expression turned extremely ugly. Never in his wildest dreams did he expect Yi Chenfeng to be so abnormal. With just a single punch, he was able to break through his defense, almost causing him to vomit blood. However, he had no way out now. If he couldn't block Yi Chenfeng's 3 moves, not only would he lose the qualification to enter the Sky Fire Marshal House, he would also be too ashamed to stay in White Emperor City. That attack just now should be his limit. If I defend with all my strength, I should have a chance to block the remaining 2 moves. When it's my turn to attack, I'll be able to turn the tide. Lien Yulong constantly comforted himself and encouraged himself. At this moment, the entire martial arts arena was silent. The hedonistic sons who had been cheering for Lien Yulong were all speechless. They were shocked by the scene just now. Even Lien Yulong's father had lost his composure. The smile on his face froze, and a trace of worry appeared between his eyebrows. Pay attention to the second move. Yi Chenfeng sneered and poured all the strength in his body into his right fist like a surging tide. With one punch, the air exploded and the airflow surged. Yi Chenfeng had compressed the strength of this punch to the limit and blasted it toward Lien Yulong's chest. Iron Jaw Crocodile, resist with all your strength. Feeling the terror of Yi Chenfeng's punch, Lien Yulong immediately poured the strength of his spiritual beast, the Iron Jaw Crocodile, into his spear. Holding the spear with both hands, he used all his strength to resist Yi Chenfeng's second round of attack. Crack! An ear-piercing cracking sound rang out. The black spiral spear in Lien Yulong's hand couldn't withstand the strength of Yi Chenfeng's fist, and a crack appeared on the spear's body. His arms, which were holding the spear tightly, were split open. A large amount of blood flowed out uncontrollably and dripped onto the ground. It was a ghastly sight. Puff! This time, Lien Yulong could no longer suppress the surging qi and blood in his body. He spat out a mouthful of blood and lost control of his body. He retreated to the edge of the arena and almost lost the match. The arena was silent. Everyone was stunned by the scene in front of them. Is this Yi Chenfeng a humanoid monster? He actually shattered the black spiral spear with one punch. This is too terrifying. This is the first time I've seen someone who has cultivated their physical strength to the limit and can erupt with such terrifying strength. No, it shouldn't be like this. Young Master Lien won't lose. He should beat Yi Chenfeng into a dead dog. Di Wanxian couldn't accept the reality in front of him. If Lien Yulong wasn't Yi Chenfeng's match, then revenge would be as difficult as ascending to the heavens. Lien Yulong, there's still one last move. Yi Chenfeng's lips curled up. He suddenly accelerated and launched his third round of attack at Lien Yulong. I can't lose. The qualification to enter the Sky Fire Marshal House must be mine. After experiencing Yi Chenfeng's terrifying strength, Lien Yulong knew that he would lose without a doubt if he continued to defend. In an instant, several thoughts flashed through his mind. In the end, he broke his oath and launched a counterattack at Yi Chenfeng with his cracked spear. Yi Chenfeng, go to hell! Lien Yulong roared. A faintly discernible Iron Jaw Crocodile appeared behind him. When the Iron Jaw Crocodile fused with the black spiral spear, the spear's offensive power rose sharply. Despicable. This Lien Yulong is too despicable. He actually went back on his word and broke his oath in front of everyone. Does he not have any shame? Bai Xia stood up from her seat and angrily criticized. Diwan Xian and the rest below the arena were wild with joy. In their opinion, as long as Lien Yulong counterattacked, Yi Chunfeng would have no chance. Lien Yulong, I didn't misjudge you. You are a complete villain. Chapter 36. Soul Power. How can this Yi Chunfeng have soul power surging in his body? Didn't he not have a spiritual beast? Could it be that a spiritual beast can awaken a second time? Feeling that Yi Chunfeng's soul power was even more terrifying than Lien Yulong's and had reached the 6th rank spirit beast mastery, everyone, including Lien Wansong, was dumbfounded. They couldn't believe what they were seeing. Break for me, with the fusion of soul power and physical strength. Yi Chunfeng's attack power was raised to the extreme. More than 8,000 jin of strength poured into his fist. With a punch, a terrible power erupted like a volcano and bombarded Lien Yulong's long spear. Buzz! The fist and the spear collided, sparks flew, and a strong repulsive force burst out. Lien Yulong only felt that his spear had stabbed into an unshakable mountain. The surging power penetrated the long spear and rushed into his body, shaking his body and spraying a large amount of blood uncontrollably. Kacha! Just when Lien Yulong couldn't withstand the power of Yi Chunfeng's punch and was injured, Yi Chunfeng's body regenerated and broke his fist, smashing the long spear full of cracks, directly shattering the long spear that Lien Yulong had spent a lot of money to refine. What? How is this possible? Looking at the scene of the black spiral long spear shattering, Lien Yulong was scared out of his wits. He never thought that Yi Chunfeng's attack power would be so terrible that he could shatter his weapon with his bare hands. Just when he was about to open his mouth and admit defeat, Yi Chunfeng's fist shattered the long spear and hit his chest with an unstoppable force, shattering the soul power defense he had gathered in his chest and sent him flying. He spat out a mouthful of blood in midair and smashed to the ground, bouncing out of the martial arena, and fainted. Silence, incomparable silence. Seeing Yi Chunfeng shatter the long spear with one punch and severely injure Lien Yulong, everyone present was stunned. They stared blankly at Yi Chunfeng, and only the sound of breathing could be heard in the entire martial arena. It's him. He was the one who saved me that night. Xiao Jinyuan covered her mouth with both hands. After witnessing Yi Chunfeng's strength, coupled with that vague feeling from that night, she was basically sure that the person who saved her that night was Yi Chunfeng. Spiritual beast. Yi Chunfeng actually awakened his spiritual beast a second time. How'd he do it? In the crowd, the tall and slender Yi Xiling was also stunned by the scene in front of her. Yi Chunfeng's second awakening of his spiritual beast at the age of 15 had definitely broken the norm. If the Yi family knew about Yi Chunfeng's transformation, they would definitely regret their decision that day. Yulong! Coming back to his senses, Lien Wansong roared loudly. Like an angry lion, he rushed down the stands and carried the unconscious Lien Yulong, whose chest had caved in. Little bastard, you're so heartless. You actually dared to kill Yulong. I'll kill you. Lien Wansong checked Lien Yulong's injuries and found that his sternum was completely shattered and his meridians were severely damaged. Even with the help of elixirs, it would be very difficult for him to return to his peak state. Thinking that the Lien family's future hope had been destroyed by Yi Chunfeng, Lien Wansong was filled with killing intent. A powerful, baleful aura emanated from his body and suppressed Yi Chunfeng. Patriarch Lien, this doesn't seem to be your Lien family, but White Emperor Academy. Also, it was your son who said that he would let me have 3 moves first. In order to win, I naturally had to do my best. Who would have thought that he would be so disappointing that he couldn't even withstand 3 moves? How disappointing. Yi Chunfeng stood in place like a steel spear, resisting the baleful aura released by Lien Wansong. Just now, it was indeed Lien Yulong who had taken the initiative to let Yi Chunfeng have 3 moves first. But who would have thought that Yi Chunfeng would be so powerful and heavily injure Lien Yulong in just 3 moves? Looking at his son's miserable state, Lien Wansong couldn't swallow this anger. If he let this matter go, he would lose all face and become the laughingstock of White Emperor City. More importantly, Yi Qinfeng's strength and talent made him feel threatened. In order to eliminate this potential threat, Lien Wansong was filled with killing intent toward Yi Qinfeng. A pitch-black scorpion appeared on his body and locked onto Yi Qinfeng. Lien Wansong, what are you doing? Do you still know who you are? Just when Lien Wansong was about to take action, a thunderous voice resounded in his ears. The strongest person in White Emperor City, the pillar of the Bai family, Bai Shishan, stood up and asked with a serious expression. Old Bai, are you going to protect this kid? Lien Wansong asked with an ugly expression. Chen Feng is this old man's savior. Since he is being bullied, this old man naturally has to stand up for him. Bai Shishan said in an overbearing manner, not giving Lien Wansong any face at all. Savior? How is that possible? Lien Wansong's eyes widened. He couldn't believe what he just heard. Who was Bai Shishan? He was the strongest person in White Emperor City, a rank 5 beast illusion master. He couldn't imagine how Yi Qinfeng managed to save him from the clutches of death. Patriarch Lien, I see that Yulong's injuries are very serious. The most important thing right now is to treat him as soon as possible. Feeling the tense atmosphere, White Emperor Palace Master smiled bitterly. He had no choice but to stand up and mediate. Okay. I'll leave. With Bai Shishan's support, Lien Wansong didn't dare to take action. He gritted his teeth and left with the unconscious Lien Yulong in his arms. After Lien Wansong and the others left, Di Wanxian, who was waiting for a good show, didn't dare to stay any longer and left with his tail between his legs. All right, let the competition continue. White Emperor Martial House Master looked at the departing figures of Lien Wansong and the others and announced loudly from the stands. However, after witnessing Yi Qinfeng's terrifying battle strength, none of the participating students dared to challenge him. Bai Shishan revealed a faint smile as he looked appreciatively at Yi Qinfeng. It seems that Yi Qinfeng will be able to take first place in the year-end assessment. With his talent and strength, he should be able to make a name for himself even in the Sky Fire Martial House. With Qinfeng's strength, he deserves first place. Bai Xia looked at Yi Qinfeng, who had his hands behind his back and his back straight as he bathed in the sunlight. Her eyes revealed a trace of infatuation. It wasn't just Bai Xia who revealed an infatuated look. Yi Xiling and Xiao Jingyuan's eyes also revealed a strange look. However, Xiao Jingyuan's eyes revealed more regret. She regretted distancing herself from Yi Qinfeng when he fell from the altar, causing their relationship to break apart. Chapter 37. Qinfeng, congratulations on obtaining first place in the White Emperor Martial House's year-end assessment. Now, you will represent the White Emperor City in the Sky Flame Martial House's assessment. The White Emperor Martial House's master said cordially as he personally handed a token with a flame pattern engraved on it to Yi Qinfeng. Thank you, Martial House Master. Yi Qinfeng received the heavy token with both hands as he softly thanked the Martial House Master. Qinfeng, you've given us too much of a shock today. I never thought that a true dragon like you would be hidden in the White Emperor Martial House. Based on your performance today, becoming a student of the Sky Flame Martial House is a cinch. When you soar to the sky, don't forget about me, the Martial House Master. The White Emperor Martial House's Master said with a smile. Although the White Emperor Martial House's Master status was extraordinary, Yi Qinfeng's performance today was worthy of him lowering his status and befriending him. I won't forget. Yi Qinfeng nodded. Yi Qinfeng had obtained first place in the White Emperor Martial House's assessment, so he didn't stay long in the Martial House. Just as he was about to leave, Xiao Jingyuan suddenly caught up with him from the crowd. She looked at him with a complicated gaze and said softly, Yi Qinfeng, I want to talk to you alone. Can you accompany me for a walk? I'm sorry, Jingyuan. I have something to do and may not be able to accompany you. Yi Qinfeng could guess why Xiao Jingyuan was looking for him, but he didn't want to have too much to do with her, so he tactfully declined. Yi Qinfeng, I know that you were the one who saved me that night. If you agree to be with me, my Qiao clan is willing to be your strongest backing and help you enter the Sky Fire Martial House to further your studies. Seeing that Yi Qinfeng was about to leave, Qiao Jingyuan bit her lips and blocked his path as she promised. Jingyuan, you've got the wrong person. Yi Qinfeng shook his head and said, as for the Sky Flame Martial House, I'll rely on my own ability to enter. With that, Yi Qinfeng ignored the pale-faced Qiao Jingyuan and left without looking back. Looking at Yi Qinfeng's departing figure, Qiao Jingyuan bit her lips as two streams of tears uncontrollably flowed down her cheeks. She hated herself for being so short-sighted. If she hadn't chosen to distance herself from Yi Qinfeng when he was at his most isolated and helpless, perhaps today's outcome would have been different. Qinfeng, congratulations on obtaining the qualification to enter the Sky Flame Martial House. As Yi Qinfeng left the White Emperor Martial House under the awe-inspiring gazes of the crowd, a beautiful figure suddenly jumped in front of him and congratulated him with a smile. Xia, thank you and Grandpa Bai for your protection. If it wasn't for you, I wouldn't have been able to obtain the qualifications to enter the Sky Flame Martial House so smoothly. Yi Qinfeng said softly as he looked at the tall and beautiful Bai Xia, who had two cute dimples on her cheeks when she smiled. Qinfeng, I's life was saved by you. If you're in trouble, I won't sit idly by. At this moment, Bai Xishan walked out of the White Emperor Martial House in high spirits and said in a deep voice, Qinfeng, my grandfather and father would like to invite you to their house for a meal. Do you have time? Bai Xia invited in a pleasant voice. I do. This time, Yi Qinfeng didn't refuse and happily agreed. Crystal lamb chop, almond Buddha hand, imperial bean cake, phoenix tail shark fin. In order to get closer to Yi Qinfeng, the Bai family had prepared a sumptuous lunch. Plates of fragrant and delicious food were placed on the table, greatly increasing one's appetite. Qinfeng, I have a question. May I ask if your medical skills have anything to do with the illusory sect? Bai Xishan, who was in a good mood, took a sip of the mellow white wine and asked. No, I learned my medical skills from my master. However, I'm not sure if my master is from the sect or not. Yi Qinfeng had already thought of an excuse and made up a fabricated master. Master? Bai Xishan raised his eyebrows and said, Qinfeng is your master in White Emperor City. I also don't know where my master is. While I was 13, he passed on his medical skills to me and left. Yi Qinfeng shook his head and said, Qinfeng, if I'm not wrong, your master most likely comes from a powerful sect. Only in a sect would there be such mysterious medical skills. Bai Xishan said with yearning. In his heart, he was a little envious of Yi Qinfeng's luck. In the evening, the White Emperor Martial House's year-end examination came to an end. The news of Yi Qinfeng severely injuring Lian Yulong in 3 moves spread like the wind in many martial houses, attracting the attention of many parties. As for the Yi family, one of the 3 great families of the imperial city, when they heard this news from Yi Xiling, they fell into a state of shock. I believe everyone knows about the news from Xiling. What do you all think of this matter? The head of the Yi family, Yi Qingchuan, was wearing a black robe with dark patterns. His face was as angular as a knife, and his eyes were deep and powerful. He sat on a richly ornamented wooden armchair and asked in a low voice, I really don't know what kind of dog's hit luck Yi Qinfeng had. He actually awakened his spiritual beast a second time and broke through to the 6th grade. Yi Tianming, who had insisted on expelling Yi Qinfeng from the Yi family, said with a gloomy face, It doesn't matter whether Yi Qinfeng had dog's hit luck or not. He has indeed awakened his spiritual beast. His terrifying talent has returned. Yi Qingchuan took a deep breath and said, Father, you can't be thinking of bringing Yi Qinfeng back, right? Yi Tianming asked with an ugly expression. If he brought Yi Qinfeng back, it would undoubtedly make him lose face. Tianming, I know what you were worried about, but do you think that your face or the future of the Yi family is more important? Yi Qingchuan asked with a solemn face. Father, I admit that I have underestimated Yi Qinfeng, but I don't believe that he, who has turned over a new leaf, can control the future of the Yi family. Yi Tianming said, unconvinced. Tianming, who do you think among the younger generation of the Yi family is comparable to Jiang Yijuan and Ji Qingxue? And who can support the entire Yi family in 100 years? This Although the Yi family was one of the three major families in the kingdom of Zijin, the only genius in the younger generation of the Yi family was Yi Xiling. Regardless of talent or spiritual beast, Yi Xiling could not be compared to Jiang Yijuan and Ji Qingxue. After thinking about it, Yi Tianming had to admit that the Yi family really needed Yi Qinfeng, the top genius. Also, the current situation in the kingdom of Zijin is very chaotic. The battle between the first prince and the second prince for the throne has reached a white-hot stage. Our Yi family is the same as the Ji family. We have always been dependent on the second prince. But if the second prince fails in the battle for the throne, our Yi family will most likely be wiped out by the first prince. And if Yi Chanfeng returns to our Yi family and enters the Sky Fire Martial House to cultivate, the first prince will more or less have some scruples. Yi Qingxuan sighed softly and revealed the inside story. Father, although your idea is good, it won't be easy to eliminate Yi Chunfeng's hostility towards our Yi family and let him come back. Yi family's third son, Yi Yihai, said, "That's right. Actually, this is our wishful thinking. In the end, the initiative is still in Yi Chunfeng's hands. If he is unwilling to come back, we really can't do anything." Yi Qingxuan said with a sigh. He regretted his decision to expel Yi Chanfeng from the Yi family. Chapter 38. The misty rain sprinkled on the emerald green bamboo leaves, like a young girl gently stroking the strings of a zither, relaxing one's mind. Yi Chanfeng bid farewell to Bai Xia and the others. Riding the Fergana stallion that was gifted to him by the Bai family and worth tens of thousands of silvers, he hurried towards the center of the Zijin kingdom's power, the Zijin imperial city. After half a day of hurrying, he arrived outside the Zijin imperial city in the evening. Looking at the majestic imperial city gates that were dozens of meters tall, Yi Chunfeng couldn't help but recall his childhood. He thought of his foster father, Yi Xuanxiang, who had treated him like his own flesh and blood but had mysteriously passed away. "Foster father, wait until I enter the Sky Fire Martial House. I will definitely use the power of the Martial House to investigate the cause of your death. If you were really killed by someone, I swear I will personally kill the enemy and avenge you." Yi Chenfeng clenched his fists and secretly swore in his heart. Yi Chenfeng left the Fergana stallion at a relay station outside the city and put on the human skin mask that he had bought earlier. After disguising himself, he walked into the Zijin imperial city. The reason why Yi Chenfeng was so careful was because he was afraid that the Jiang family would discover his whereabouts and cause unnecessary trouble. Walking on the familiar streets, Yi Chenfeng first headed towards the largest shop in the Zijin imperial city, the Myriad Treasure House. He wanted to buy spirit pills that could replenish his blood and qi. If Yi Chenfeng could completely replenish his blood and qi before the Heavenly Fire Martial House's entrance exam, he would be able to reach the level of a river of blood. Then, his physical strength would reach 10,000 jin. With a single punch, the explosive power would be enough to crush an ordinary soul skill. However, spirit pills that could replenish blood and qi were too rare, and the Myriad Treasure House did not have any in stock. "Shopkeeper, where can I buy spirit pills that can replenish blood and qi?" Yi Chenfeng asked the shopkeeper of the Myriad Treasure House. Spirit pills that can replenish blood and qi are too rare. In the past year, even the Imperial City's auction did not have any spirit pills for sale. The shopkeeper, wearing a pair of gold-rimmed spectacles and a white robe, said coldly. Yi Chenfeng took out a banknote worth 1,000 taels of silver and secretly stuffed it into the shopkeeper's hand as he said, "Shopkeeper, I really need a spirit medicine that can replenish my qi and blood. As long as you can provide a way to buy it, I will definitely reward you handsomely." "I'm all right. Seeing that you're quite sensible, I'll reveal something to you." The shopkeeper stuffed the banknotes into his sleeve without leaving a trace and said, "A few days ago, the Ji family offered a generous reward for famous doctors from all over the country to treat Master Ji's illness. Among the rewards, there was a precious 1,000-year-old king blood ginseng. 1,000-year blood ginseng king. Yi Chenfeng had once checked the ancient books and knew that the blood ginseng was definitely a panacea that could replenish one's qi and blood. The 1,000-year-old blood ginseng king was a top-quality panacea. If he could obtain that 1,000-year-old blood ginseng king, his strength would greatly increase. However, the G family head's injuries are very serious. Even the imperial doctors in the imperial city are helpless. So, whether or not you can get the G family's reward will depend on your ability, the shopkeeper said. Thank you for telling me. After obtaining this important information, Yi Chen-feng did not stay for long. He got up and left the 10,000 treasure house. G family. Although Yi Chen-feng did not want to step into the Ji family and did not want to have anything to do with Ji Qingxue, he was determined to obtain the 1,000-year-old blood ginseng king. If he could obtain it, his strength would at least double. When he entered the heavenly fire marshal house, he would be able to fight for more cultivation resources. The next morning, Yi Chen-feng walked under the morning sun towards the Ji family's old residence located in the northwestern part of the imperial city. The Ji family is indeed worthy of being one of the 3 great families of the Zijin kingdom. The reward they issued actually attracted so many doctors. When Yi Chen-feng arrived at the Ji family's old residence, he discovered that there were many doctors gathered at the entrance. They were undergoing the Ji family's strict examination. Only by passing the examination would they have the qualifications to enter the Ji family's old residence and treat the Ji family head, Ji Yanjin. As the Ji family's examination was very strict, almost 90% of the doctors were unable to pass the examination and were blocked outside the door. This caused them to be extremely dissatisfied. However, when they thought of the Ji family's high status in the Zijin kingdom, they could only complain and leave. Sir, you must have seen the reward and are here to treat the Ji family head, right? When it was Yi Chen-feng's turn, a white-haired old man with a gentle smile on his face looked at the immature Yi Chen-feng and asked. Yes. Yi Chen-feng nodded. His face, which was covered by the human skin mask, was expressionless. I'm sorry, the doctors that are Ji family recruits must have at least 30 years of medical experience. Looking at your age, I'm afraid you're not even 30 years old. Medical experience does not represent everything. Everything depends on one's strength. If you miss me, I'm afraid you will miss the last chance to save the Ji family head. Yi Chen-feng said calmly. His domineering words made the white-haired old man frown. I'm sorry, we can't risk the family head's life. Please go back. After thinking for a while, the white-haired old man still rejected Yi Chen-feng and did not let him in. If I remember correctly, the eldest daughter of the Ji family went to Bai Di City not long ago and wanted to invite back the godly doctor who treated the Bai family head. Seeing that the white-haired old man rejected him, Yi Chen-feng was not angry and said indifferently. For the 1,000-year blood ginseng king, Yi Chen-feng had no choice but to expose his other identity. However, he had already convinced the Bai family to keep his identity a secret. He was not afraid that the Bai family would betray him. Could it be that you are the godly doctor? The white-haired old man raised his eyebrows and looked at Yi Chen-feng in a different way. The white-haired old man had heard Ji Qingxue mention that the godly doctor who treated Bai Shishan was very young. Moreover, not many people knew about this matter. He could basically guess Yi Chen-feng's identity. I was the one who cured the Bai family head. Yi Chen-feng said indifferently. My apologies, I was neglectful just now. I hope the godly doctor doesn't mind. May I know the godly doctor's surname? My surname is Chun. Godly Dr. Chun, please come in. The white-haired old man bowed slightly and said apologetically. He personally led Yi Chen-feng into the ancient Ji family residence. Walking on the winding gravel road, Yi Chen-feng's sharp senses sensed that there were many experts hidden in the shadows of the Ji family residence. Among these experts, there were even powerful beast illusionists. Why is the Ji family residence so heavily guarded? Could it be that something big has happened? Yi Chen-feng sensed an unusual aura through the Ji family residence's security. Ji Qingxue. Yi Chen-feng followed the white-haired old man through a sea of emerald green bamboos and arrived outside a luxurious hall. When Yi Chen-feng swept his gaze over the hall that was filled with cloud patterns, he saw Ji Qingxue, who was wearing an emerald green silk dress. She had an elegant temperament and was extremely beautiful. At this moment, she was standing beside her father, Ji Yunyu. Her brows were tightly knitted as she thought about something. Yi Qinfeng shifted his gaze away from Ji Qingxue and expressionlessly walked into the noisy hall. Chapter 39. Housekeeper Ji, who is this? Ji Yunyu looked at Yi Qinfeng, who exuded a childish aura and had no expression on his face, and asked, Young master, this is Master Chun, the one that young miss mentioned before, the one who cured old master by the white-haired old man introduced. It's him. As soon as the white-haired old man finished speaking, Ji Qingxue, who was deep in thought, suddenly raised her head and looked at Yi Qinfeng. When she carefully examined the disguised Yi Qinfeng, a familiar feeling arose in her heart, as if she knew him. Sir, are you really the divine Dr. Chun who cured old Master Bai? Ji Yunyu was very clear about Bai Shishan's condition. Even Imperial physician Su, who was one of the top medical experts in the Imperial City, was helpless. However, this divine doctor only used a little more than an hour to expel the fire poison from Bai Shishan's body. It was enough to show that his medical skills had surpassed the standards of the Imperial physicians. However, Yi Qinfeng gave off a feeling that he was too young, so Ji Yunyu could not help but suspect his identity. He cast his gaze at Ji Qingxue. It's me. Yi Qinfeng nodded. Master Chun, have we met before? Ji Qingxue looked at Yi Qinfeng with sparkling eyes and asked in a pleasant voice. Although Yi Qinfeng's face was unfamiliar, a woman's sixth sense told Ji Qingxue that she definitely knew him. No, Yi Qinfeng shook his head and said in a cold voice, I'm here to treat a patient, not to chat. If you don't believe me, I'll leave immediately. Hearing Yi Qinfeng's cold voice, Ji Qingxue's sense of déjà vu became even stronger. Why is his voice so similar to that person's? Thinking back to the mysterious young man who saved her and Bai Xia's lives that night, Ji Qingxue realized that the two of them, whether it was their tone of voice or their body shape, were very similar. Could it be that they're the same person? Did he disguise himself last time? As she thought about it, Ji Qingxue's heartbeat suddenly sped up. Her beautiful eyes stared at Yi Qinfeng, as if she wanted to see through him. What a temper. Anyone here can be your master. We haven't said anything yet, but you're already so impatient. An old man with an extremely high status in the medical world, who wore a dark golden doctor's robe, glared at Yi Qinfeng and scolded him loudly. Then how confident are you in curing Patriarch Bai? Yi Qinfeng asked indifferently when he saw the disdain in the eyes of the old man in golden robes. What? Are you very confident? The dark golden-robed elder sneered. At least I'm more confident than you guys, Yi Qinfeng said confidently. What an arrogant brat. I is a master. I was learned of you was not even I, was you as you I was you. I you as I was I you was I you as you I you was not even was I was you. You was I use I. Age does not mean anything. Everything depends on strength. As for who you are, I am not interested in knowing, Yi Qinfeng said indifferently as he looked at the furious old man in dark golden robes. You. All right, both of you. Please give me some face and stop talking. Let's focus on how to treat my father's illness. Ji Yunyu frowned as he looked at the two who refused to back down. He had no choice but to mediate between them. The old man in the dark golden robe was trembling with anger at Yi Qinfeng. He gritted his teeth and said, If you insist on keeping him here, I will leave immediately. Yi Qinfeng was so angry that he was trembling all over. Let me take a look at the patient, Yi Qinfeng said indifferently, ignoring the angry dark golden-robed old man. This. Ji Yunyu glanced at the furious old man in the dark golden robes, then at the calm and collected Yi Qinfeng, who did not have any expression on his face. He began to worry. Although Yi Qinfeng exuded an extraordinary aura, the old man in the dark golden robe was the imperial physician of the imperial city. His medical skills were outstanding. Ji Yunyu did not dare to take the risk of keeping Yi Qinfeng here. Father, let Master Chen try. I have confidence in him. Just as the situation was in a deadlock, Ji Qingxue bit her moist lips and said, All right, I'll leave. Hearing that Ji Qingxue had chosen Yi Qinfeng, the old man in the dark golden robe was so angry that his face turned black. He flicked his sleeves and left. Ah, Master Chun, please follow me. Seeing the old man in the dark golden robe leave in anger, Ji Yunyu gritted his teeth and helplessly brought Yi Chunfeng to the small courtyard where Ji Yanjing lived. What a strong smell of medicine. Walking into the small courtyard, Yi Chunfeng smelled the strong smell of medicine in the air. When he pushed open the door and walked into the house, he saw Ji Yanjing, who was soaked in a large tub of medicine. His body was thin and his face was ashen. Yunyu, who is this? Hearing the commotion, Ji Yanjing, who was soaking in the tub of medicine, slowly opened his eyes. When he saw Yi Chunfeng, who exuded a youthful aura, he asked, "Father, this is Master Chun who saved Old Bai." Ji Yunyu introduced. However, in his heart, he didn't think highly of Yi Chunfeng. I didn't expect Master Chun to be so young. Ji Yanjing smiled and said, "Age doesn't mean everything." Yi Chunfeng directly walked to the tub of medicine and ordered, "Give me your hand." Hearing Yi Chunfeng's commanding tone, Ji Yanjing was stunned. It had been a long time since someone spoke to him in such a tone. "Grandfather, believe in Master Chun. He will definitely cure you." Seeing that Ji Yanjing had not moved for a long time, Ji Qingxue said, "Who told you that I can definitely cure you? Maybe the more I treat you, the worse it will get." Yi Chunfeng said coldly. Hearing Yi Chunfeng's reprimand, Ji Qingxue immediately put on an aggrieved expression. She couldn't understand why he was so hostile towards her. "Haha, you're really interesting. Then I'll hand these old bones over to you." Ji Yanjing looked at the aggrieved Ji Qingxue and handed his slightly withered arm to Yi Chunfeng. Why are your injuries so serious? Almost all the flesh in your body is necrotic." When Yi Chunfeng took Ji Yanjing's pulse, he realized that his injuries were much more serious than he had imagined. The continuous recurrence of old injuries had almost destroyed all the flesh in his body and eroded his vitality. So it's a long story. I wonder if the divine doctor has a way to slow down my condition? Ji Yanjing understood his body's condition very well. He didn't expect to recover completely. He only hoped that his condition could be slowed down and help the Ji family get through the most difficult period. It's not difficult to slow down your condition, but curing it might be a little troublesome. However, it's not impossible. Yi Chunfeng slowly said as he searched through his inherited memories. I really have hope of recovering completely." Hearing Yi Chunfeng's words, Ji Yanjing raised his brows. His turbid eyes shot out rays of light. "There's hope, but I need to think about it." Yi Chunfeng nodded and said, "Master Chun, if you can really cure my father, you will be my Ji family's eternal friend." Ji Yunyu said with slight excitement. Ji Yanjing was too important to the Ji family. If something happened to him, the Ji family would be annihilated. "I'm not interested in being your Ji family's eternal friend. I'm here for the reward," Yi Chunfeng said in a low voice. "Master Chun, as long as you can slow down my condition and prevent it from acting up in a short period of time, you can choose 2 treasures for my Ji family's reward. If you can cure me, I'll give you the reward." Ji Yanjing promised in front of everyone. "All right." Chapter 40. Stand aside and don't speak. If you disturb me and cause my acupuncture to fail, you will bear the consequences. Yi Chunfeng warned coldly after disinfecting the needles. "Don't worry, Master Chun. We won't disturb you," Ji Yunyu and Ji Qingxue said in unison. They took a few steps back and waited for Yi Chunfeng's treatment. "Phew, are you ready? I'm going to start the acupuncture." Yi Chunfeng adjusted his breathing and used his fingers to pick up a few needles. Using the heavenly profound needle, he smoothly inserted the needles that contained soul power into the acupuncture points on Ji Yanjing's body. In the next moment, a cold and hot energy appeared in Ji Yanjing's body. It penetrated deep into his flesh and bones, cleansing the remaining poison in his body and healing his old injuries. As the stimulation of his acupoints became more and more intense, Ji Yanjing felt that half of his body had fallen into a cold abyss and the other half had fallen into a furnace. Large amounts of sweat appeared on his forehead and his old body kept twitching. Although Yi Chunfeng's treatment was painful, the effect was very obvious. The poison in Ji Yinjing's body was expelled little by little, and the blocked meridians in his body became much smoother. However, Ji Yinjing's injuries were too severe. Purely relying on the heavenly profound needle was not enough to cure his illness. After releasing soul power to control the needles for a long time, Yi Chenfeng's soul power was severely depleted. His clothes were drenched in sweat, and he felt dizzy. Yi Chenfeng did not force himself and immediately withdrew the needles from Ji Yinjing's acupuncture points and stopped the treatment. Patriarch Ji, how are you feeling? Yi Chenfeng let out a mouthful of turbid air and looked at Ji Yinjing, who was slowly opening his eyes. Thank you for the trouble. I feel much better. Feeling the changes in his injuries, Ji Yinjing's heart was in turmoil. Grandfather, Master Qin's treatment is really effective. Ji Qingxue asked excitedly. Yes, it's very effective. There's hope for me to recover. Ji Yinjing nodded his head and said, I wonder which expert Master Qin is. He has such ability at such a young age. Today's treatment will end here. I will write down a prescription. You guys follow the prescription and brew it for family head Ji to drink. It will be more or less useful for his injuries. Yi Chenfeng did not answer Ji Yinjing's question. He grabbed the pen and paper on the table and started to write down the prescription. Beautiful words appeared on the paper one by one. The handwriting was natural and elegant, like flowing clouds and flowing water, smooth and freehand. Good calligraphy, really good calligraphy. Looking at the prescription Yi Chenfeng had written down, Ji Yunyo's eyes brightened. Regardless of the value of this prescription, just the words on it were worth a lot of money. All right, that's all for today. I'll take my leave first. I'll be back in 3 days. Yi Chenfeng, who looked a little tired, put away the silver needles and prepared to leave. Master Chen, do you have a place to stay in the Imperial City? If you don't, why don't you stay in my Ji family? After witnessing Yi Chenfeng's medical skills, Ji Yunyu enthusiastically urged him to stay. No need, I have a place to stay. Yi Chenfeng shook his head and refused. He turned around and walked out. All right then, Qingxue, send Master Chen off. Seeing Yi Chenfeng leave without hesitation, Ji Yinjing shook his head helplessly. He glanced at Ji Qingxue and said, Don't worry, Ji Qingxue glanced at Yi Chenfeng's proud back. Thinking of his suspected identity, she quickly followed him. Feeling that Ji Qingxue was chasing after him, Yi Chenfeng did not slow down. It was as if he did not notice the fairy-like Ji Qingxue behind him. Master Chen, I have a question. Can you answer it for me? After catching up to Yi Chenfeng, Ji Qingxue looked at his cold and expressionless face. She lightly bit her lips and asked, What question? Is Master Chen the person who saved me and Xia in the Baiyan Mountain Range? Ji Qingxue asked expectantly. No, you must have mistaken me for someone else. Yi Chenfeng shook his head and coldly replied, All right, we're at the door. Miss Ji, please go back. After saying that, Yi Chenfeng ignored Ji Qingxue's resentful gaze and walked out of the Ji family's old residence, disappearing into the sea of people. Looking at Yi Chenfeng's departing figure, Ji Qingxue felt very wronged. After so many years, this was the first time she had been ignored. Moreover, from Yi Chenfeng's proud voice, she could hear a trace of hostility. She could not figure out how she had offended him to make him hate her so much. Could it be because of my engagement with Yi Chenfeng that caused him to misunderstand? After thinking about it, Ji Qingxue thought of a groundless reason. No matter what the reason is, I will definitely find out your identity and change your opinion of me. Ji Qingxue clenched her fists and secretly swore in her heart. After leaving the Ji family, the tired Yi Chenfeng felt that no one was following him. He found a deserted corner and took off his human skin mask. He was prepared to find an inn to stay in and prepare for the Sky Fire Marshal House's assessment. Serene Cloud Inn. The environment is not bad. I'll stay here for the time being. Yi Chenfeng walked to an inn with an elegant environment. It was situated in a garden, and he was very satisfied with the environment. This inn has been booked by my Shun Tu family clan. Quickly leave and do not disturb the young master and young mistress rest. Just as Yi Chenfeng walked into the inn, A tall and beautiful woman wearing a white lotus root qipao blocked his path and coldly said. She had an arrogant look on her face. The Shentu family clan is so overbearing. Yi Chenfeng had a good understanding of the Shentu family clan. He knew that they were one of the ancient martial arts clans around the Zijin kingdom. Their family's heritage far exceeded the Zijin kingdom's 3 great clans. Their arrival at the Sky Fire Martial House's assessment in 3 days was probably the same as him. How dare you? What kind of dog are you? My Shentu family clan is not something you can comment on. Quickly apologize to me. Just as Yi Chenfeng turned around to leave, a furious roar rang out. A woman wearing a bright red silk dress that revealed her fair and slender legs and an unruly expression on her delicate face glared at Yi Chenfeng as she shouted loudly. What are you doing? Apologize? Why should I apologize? Yi Chenfeng calmly glanced at the arrogant and insufferably arrogant young woman and asked. Seeing Yi Chenfeng's disdainful gaze, the young woman who had never been ignored by anyone was furious. She ordered loudly, If you dare to speak to me in such a tone, I'll break your dog legs. The young woman was completely enraged. A lifelike snow fox appeared from her body. Her slender legs suddenly exerted strength, and she jumped high up from the wooden stairs. With a swift and fierce kick, she kicked towards Yi Chenfeng. Hearing the whistling sound of the wind in front of him, Yi Chenfeng turned around abruptly. Rolling power surged into his right fist. With one punch, he smashed apart the fierce wind coming from the kick, sending the young woman who was kicking towards him flying with a punch. Rumble. A series of shattering noises sounded. A few tables were smashed by the young woman, who lost control. She fell heavily to the ground and did not get up for a long time. Chapter 41. The Heavenly Fire Martial House was the highest-ranked martial house in the Zijin Kingdom. It had a history of nearly 1,000 years. However, the Heavenly Fire Martial House did not belong to the Zijin Kingdom. It was established by the 3rd grade sect, the Heavenly Fire Sect. It was located in the east of the Zijin Kingdom, deep within the Purple Cloud Mountains. It could be said that the Heavenly Fire Martial House was the place that the Zijin Kingdom and the surrounding ancient martial clans yearned for the most. However, the Heavenly Fire Martial House's examination was extremely harsh. Unless one was a genius among geniuses or a monster among monsters, it would be very difficult to pass the examination and enter the Heavenly Fire Martial House to cultivate. However, once one entered the Heavenly Fire Martial House, one would be able to learn a multitude of inheritances. Breaking through to the Earth Beast General Realm was no longer a dream. More importantly, the Heavenly Fire Martial House was the bridge to the Heavenly Fire Sect. If one was lucky enough to enter the Heavenly Fire Sect, they would have the opportunity to glimpse the legendary realm. Their status would be even more respected than the Emperor of a kingdom. After 3 days of rest, Yi Chenfeng rented a small courtyard and adjusted his body to its peak state. He walked to the examination site outside the Purple Cloud Mountains to participate in the examination. Walking to the foot of the Purple Cloud Mountains, Yi Chenfeng saw a simple and majestic hall standing at the foot of the mountain. In the middle of the hall, there was a huge signboard. On the signboard, there were 3 words written in flamboyant calligraphy: Ascending Immortal Hall. Ascending Immortal Hall. Once you enter the hall, you will ascend to immortality. What a bold name. When Yi Chenfeng saw the words Immortal Ascension Hall, he immediately felt a majestic aura rush towards him. Just as he was feeling the ancient aura of the Ascending Immortal Hall, a familiar voice suddenly entered his ears. Yi Chenfeng, why are you here? Hearing the voice, Yi Chenfeng slowly turned around. He saw Ji Qingxue, who was wearing a dark green silk dress. Her skin was as smooth as milk, and her entire body was emitting a fatal charm. She was accompanied by an expert from the Ji family. Because Ji Yan's old injury had relapsed, the Ji family was in a mess. Ji Qingxue did not know that Yi Chenfeng had obtained the first place in the White Emperor Martial House. Why? You can come, but I can't. Yi Chenfeng saw the disgust and surprise hidden in Ji Qingxue's eyes, but he didn't care. After that, Yi Chenfeng no longer paid any attention to Ji Qing Shui. Instead, he took out the token that symbolized his identity from his bosom. Then, he passed through the examination of an old man who was guarding the entrance. Then, he smoothly entered the Ascension Immortal Hall. How was that possible? He actually has a test medallion? Isn't he a piece of trash? Did he awaken his spiritual beast? When Ji Qingxue saw Yi Chenfeng walk into the Immortal Ascension Hall, she was even more surprised. She couldn't believe that Yi Chenfeng had awakened his spiritual beast a second time at the age of 15. However, she did not doubt that Yi Chenfeng, Master Chun, and the cold and arrogant man who saved her life and touched her heart were the same person. In her opinion, Yi Chenfeng definitely did not have that kind of strength and ability. Walking into the ascending Immortal Hall, Yi Chenfeng saw that there were many luxuriously dressed young people standing in the hall. They were either rich or respectable. Judging from the aura that they inadvertently released, these people were definitely not ordinary people. They were all first-class geniuses. Third brother, it's him. He was the one who insulted my Shun Tu family clan and injured me for no reason. Just as Yi Chenfeng was looking around the ancient ascending Immortal Hall and observing his competitors, an angry scream rang out. A tall, slender, and rather beautiful young woman pointed at him angrily. She wanted nothing more than to cut him into pieces. And this woman was none other than the unruly woman from the Shun Tu family clan who was sent flying by Yi Chenfeng's punch 3 days ago. I finally found you. Kid, you sure have guts. You even dare to bully my sister. I think you must have eaten a bear's heart and leopard's guts. Beside the unruly girl, a young man with a tall and straight figure, who was wearing luxurious clothes, blocked Yi Chenfeng's path and spoke fiercely. His eyes revealed a trace of fierceness. Why? Do you want to avenge your sister? But this is not your Shun Tu family clan's territory. If you make a move here, you have to think about the consequences. Yi Chenfeng knew that even if he spoke until his mouth cracked, the man would not believe him. Hence, he could not be bothered to explain and warned him coldly. The conflict between Yi Chenfeng and the Shun Tu family clan's brother and sister had attracted a lot of attention. Seeing the two of them go head-to-head, Ji Qingxue shook her head and the disgust in her eyes intensified. You, thinking of the Sky Fire Martial House's rules, which forbade private fights during the examination period, the finely dressed man did not dare to make a move. He gritted his teeth and swallowed his anger. Like a hungry wolf, he stared at Yi Chenfeng and said, "Brat, just you wait. When the Sky Fire Martial House's examination is over, I will not forgive you." Why? Do you want to challenge me to a battle? Hearing the man's threat, Yi Chenfeng was not afraid and deliberately asked loudly, "That's right. I challenge you to a battle. Do you dare to accept?" The man raised his eyebrows and revealed a look of surprise as he asked loudly. As a top genius of the Shun Tu family clan, he did not put the Zijin Kingdom's geniuses in his eyes, much less Yi Chenfeng. All right, after the Sky Fire Martial House's assessment is over, I will challenge you. But should we bet on something? Yi Chenfeng revealed a faint smile as he asked, "What do you want to bet?" Shin Tu-Ye's eyes flashed with an ominous glint as he asked, "Let's bet on the Sky Fire Martial House's assessment reward. If someone does not get the reward, then we will give them 1,000,000 taels of silver as compensation." Yi Chenfeng said, "It seems that you are very confident in this assessment. But, as you wish, I will bet with you." Shin Tu-Ye agreed. "I hope that you will not break your promise when the time comes. Otherwise, I will definitely make you regret it." After finishing his words, Yi Chenfeng ignored the ugly expression on the man's face and walked away alone. "Damn it, I don't care who you are. When the Sky Fire Martial House's assessment is over, I will definitely break your dog legs and make you lie on the ground like a dog begging me to let you go." The man stared at Yi Chenfeng's back as he gritted his teeth and swore. "Shen Tuyi, I find that you are really regressing. You are really an embarrassment to our ancient martial arts family." Just as the luxuriously dressed man swore to himself, a burly middle-aged man with long black hair draped over his shoulders, giving off a wanton and unrestrained feeling, walked to his side and coldly mocked him. Hearing the mocking words, Shun Tuye's anger was ignited. However, when he saw the person who walked over, he immediately felt the pressure from his body, and the anger on his face disappeared. Shang Guanpeng, you have broken through. That's right. Not long ago, I broke through to become a level 2 beast illusionist. Shang Guanpeng nodded his head. His face was filled with arrogance as he said, "First place in the Sky Fire Martial House's assessment is mine. You have no chance." After finishing his words, the arrogant Shang Guanpeng laughed loudly and turned to leave. Chapter 42. After about 10 minutes, a white-robed old man with white hair and a ruddy complexion walked out from the inner hall. He stood on top of the stairs and said in a deep voice, "I am one of the examiners for this assessment. You can call me Elder Lu." So strong. This Elder Lu is so strong. When Yi Chenfeng saw Elder Lu, he was immediately shocked by his strength. He felt that Elder Lu was definitely the strongest person he had ever seen. Next, I will announce the contents of the Sky Fire Martial House's assessment. This assessment is divided into 3 parts: Strength Test, Puppet Test, and Crossing the Purple Cloud Mountain Range. Only those who pass all 3 will be qualified to become a disciple of the Sky Fire Martial House. After the assessment, we will choose the top 10 based on the results of the 3 rounds and reward them. The reward for the first place is a 9th grade 9 Chu Spirit Pill. The second place is an 8th grade Earth Spirit Pill. The third place is an 8th grade White Jade Sun Pill. The 4th to 10th place are low-grade Spirit Crystals. Hearing the assessment rewards, the eyes of the proud geniuses lit up as they became excited. After all, 8th grade and 9th grade pills were rare in the ancient martial families. Especially the 9 Chu Spirit Pill. It was a legendary pill. If they could obtain it, they could at least break through 1 level in a short period of time. Even if they couldn't obtain the 9 Chu Spirit Pill, the Earth Spirit Pill and the White Jade Sun Pill were equally attractive to them. They were filled with fighting spirit and couldn't wait to participate in the assessment. Idiots, a bunch of idiots. The 9 Chu Spirit Pill is something you want to get your hands on. The tall and sturdy Shangguan Peng with a face full of arrogance revealed a trace of ridicule. In his opinion, the 9 Chu Spirit Pill was prepared for him. No one had the strength to compete with him. Although Shun Tui didn't expect to obtain the 9 Chu Spirit Pill, he was very interested in the Earth Spirit Pill and the White Jade Sun Pill. If he could obtain either of these 2 8th grade pills, he was confident that he could break through to a 2nd grade Beast Illusionist in a short period of time. At that time, he wouldn't need to fear Shangguan Peng and could enter the Sky Fire Martial House to fight for more cultivation resources. As expected of the Sky Fire Martial House. What a big deal. In Yi Chunfeng's inherited memories, there was an introduction to these 2 medicinal pills. He knew that they were extremely difficult to refine, especially the 9 Chu Spirit Pill, which was refined using 108 kinds of spiritual items of heaven and earth. It was priceless. However, he knew very well that it was very difficult to win first place. If he wanted to win first place, he had to quickly replenish the qi and blood in his body and increase his strength. It seems that I have to get the 1,000-year blood ginseng king as soon as possible. Otherwise, I might miss out on the top 3 prizes. All right, everyone quiet down. We will now begin the strength test. Everyone follow me to the strength testing stone tablet. As he spoke, Elder Lu led Yi Chenfeng and the others into the magnificent Immortal Ascension Hall. They saw a pitch-black stone tablet that was nearly 10 meters tall, standing on the ground. This stone tablet is the strength measuring stone tablet. When the test begins, all of you will use all your strength to attack the stone tablet. As long as your strength reaches over 500 kilograms, you will pass. Remember, each of you will only have 3 chances. If you fail all 3 times, you will be eliminated. Elder Lu stood under the huge strength-measuring stone tablet and announced loudly, "All right, all of you get ready. I will start reading out the names. The disciples whose names are called will take the test." Feng Xiao Xiao. Hearing Elder Lu call out her name, a beautiful girl in her 20s with snow-white skin and picturesque features walked out from the crowd and came to the strength-measuring stone tablet. As she took a deep breath, the soul power in her mind gushed out. A strong and powerful steed that emitted a blue light emerged from her body. Three-eyed steed. Yi Qianfeng glanced at Feng Xiaoxiao's spiritual beast and was slightly surprised. He thought to himself, as expected of a genius from an ancient martial family, she has already broken through to a Class 1 beast illusionist at such a young age. She even has a mutated spiritual beast. In the same rank, a mutated spiritual beast was more terrifying. However, mutated spiritual beasts were extremely rare and were rare even in the Sky Fire Martial House. After fusing with her mutated spiritual beast, the three-eyed steed, Feng Xiaoxiao's body suddenly leaned forward. Rolling blue soul power gathered in her right fist, and she punched the strength measuring stone tablet. In the next moment, the pitch-black strength measuring stone tablet emitted a white light that quickly rose up the stone tablet. Finally, Feng Xiaoxiao's result was announced. Her punch had a force of 2,150 kilograms, which convinced many people. Pass. Next, Elder Lu was satisfied with Feng Xiaoxiao's result. He nodded and continued to call out names for the strength-measuring stone tablet. Although the Sky Fire Martial House limited the number of people to take the test every year, a mere 50 people, it was inevitable that the strength of these 50 people would be uneven. In addition, many people were nervous and couldn't perform at their best, resulting in unsatisfactory results. After Feng Xiaoxiao, only 2 of the 5 disciples successfully passed the test. The remaining 3 were eliminated and regretfully lost the right to take the test. Ji Qingxue. Just as Yi Qianfeng and the rest were waiting patiently, Elder Lu called out Ji Qingxue's name. Ji Qingxue, the number 1 beauty of the Violet Gold Imperial City. She is indeed very beautiful. I wonder how it feels to press her down. When Shangguan Peng saw the tall and beautiful Ji Qingxue, his eyes immediately emitted a fiery light as evil thoughts arose in his heart. Screech. A screech sounded from Ji Qingxue's body. She fused with her spiritual beast, the ice bird, and punched the pitch-black strength-measuring stone tablet. In the next moment, the light emitted by the strength-measuring stone tablet became stronger and stronger. In the end, Ji Qingxue's result was announced. 1,800 kilograms of strength. Her strength far surpassed that of a Class 6 spirit beast. Ji Qingxue's growth is indeed very fast. She is not far from breaking through to a Class 1 beast illusionist. When Yi Qianfeng saw Ji Qingxue's result, he muttered in his heart. After Ji Qingxue, Shangguan Peng, Shun Tuyi, and the unruly girl who had a conflict with Yi Qianfeng, Shun Tubing, took the stage one after another. Among them, the powerful Class 2 beast illusionist, Shangguan Peng, even managed to produce a result of 1,800 kilograms of strength with a single punch, shocking everyone present. Although Shan Tuye's result wasn't as stunning as Shangguan Peng's, his results surpassed Feng Xiaoxiao, who was the first to take the stage. He had reached 2,500 kilograms of strength and was ranked second among all the results. Seeing his own result, Shan Tuyi revealed a satisfied smile. He deliberately cast a provocative look at Yi Qianfeng, wanting to see a look of reverence in his eyes. However, Yi Qianfeng ignored his provocation. He was constantly thinking about the pros and cons of revealing his physical strength. Yi Qianfeng. Just when Yi Qianfeng was deep in thought, Elder Lu finally called his name and pulled him back from his thoughts. It's finally my turn. Yi Qianfeng raised his head slightly and glanced at the strength-measuring stone tablet that was more than 10 meters tall. He walked over with his usual steps. For the 9 Chu Spirit Pill, he decided to reveal his strongest physical strength. As for the consequences of revealing his trump card, he had already thrown them to the back of his mind. Strength itself was a kind of arrogance. Weakness itself was a kind of mistake. Chapter 43. Brat, don't get eliminated so early. That would be too boring. Shun Tuyi, who was firmly in second place after hitting 2,500 kilograms of force, let out a mocking smile. He purposely lowered his voice into a thin line and transmitted it into Yi Qianfeng's ears. Shen Tuye's provocation did not affect Yi Qinfeng at all. He calmly stood under the stone tablet and silently adjusted his breathing and gathered his strength. What a powerful force. Elder Lu's eyes were cloudy when he suddenly felt a powerful force surging out from Yi Qinfeng's body, causing the air around him to violently churn. Elder Lu's eyes immediately lit up. Yi Qinfeng roared as all the muscles in his body suddenly tightened. Surging strength surged into his right fist like a surging tide. As he took a step forward, his entire body leapt out like a leopard. Borrowing the powerful impact, he compressed his strength to the extreme and hit the stone tablet with his fist. Boom! The stone tablet shook slightly. A blinding white light was released from the pitch-black stone tablet. The light was so strong that it was hard for people to open their eyes. After about 10 breaths of time, the white light from the stone tablet gradually disappeared. Yi Qinfeng's result was fixed at 5,800 kilograms of force. What? 5,800 kilograms of force? My eyes aren't blind, right? Am I seeing things? Heavens, without using soul power, he hit 5,800 kilograms of force with just his physical strength. Is this guy a humanoid monster? Seeing Yi Qinfeng's result, everyone, including Elder Lu, was stunned. They could not believe what they were seeing. How is this possible? How can his physical strength be so terrifying? Who is this guy? Seeing Yi Qinfeng's result, the smile on Shen Tuye's face instantly froze. For the first time, he was worried about his bet with Yi Qinfeng. Yi Qinfeng, did you overdraft your physical strength again? If this goes on, you'll be destroyed by yourself sooner or later. Ji Qingxue, who was in the crowd, did not have much shock on her face. In her opinion, Yi Qinfeng must have overdrawn his physical body to be able to achieve such a stunning result. Shang Guangpeng, it seems that you won't be able to obtain first place so easily. Feng Xiao, who was tall and graceful, walked to Shang Guangpeng's side and said softly. She had an ugly expression on her face. It's just a bit of brute force. In a real fight, how much can brute force do? Everything still depends on strength. Shang Guangpeng coldly snorted and said arrogantly. However, there was a trace of sternness in his eyes. Obviously, Yi Qinfeng's result made him very unhappy. Good, very good. Next, Elder Lu was very satisfied with Yi Qinfeng's results. Without using his soul power, he was able to achieve such an astonishing result. It was enough to show that his talent was extraordinary. He was a genius that the Sky Fire Marshal House needed. The strength assessment lasted for almost an entire morning before it ended. After the morning assessment, of the 50 genius disciples from the Zijin Kingdom and the surrounding ancient martial clans, only 28 passed the strength assessment. 22 were eliminated. All right, the disciples who passed the strength assessment follow me to the dining hall to eat. The eliminated disciples are to leave the Ascension Hall immediately and are not allowed to stay. Elder Lu coldly ordered, not giving them any face. Looking at the 22 disciples whose faces were flushed red with unwillingness, Elder Lu led the 28 people who passed the assessment into the Ascension Hall's dining hall to eat and rest. After eating the Sky Fire Marshal House's special meal, Yi Qinfeng and the rest swept away their fatigue and followed Elder Lu to the interior of the Ascension Hall. There was a tall and simple stone room that emitted an austere aura. Array pattern. After entering the stone room, Yi Qinfeng's pupils shrank. He unexpectedly discovered that in the center of the stone room, there were a large number of complex array patterns that formed a trapping array. He had seen this level of array pattern in the God Eater Brain's inherited memories. It was only a basic array pattern, but when combined together, its power was not small. Behind the array pattern was an iron house made of black, profound iron. Although the iron house's door was tightly shut, Yi Qinfeng's keen perception could still see through the iron door. He could feel a ruthless and savage aura coming from the iron house. This is the second round of assessment, the Puppet Beast Prison. As long as you can defeat the puppet, you will pass. The loser will be eliminated. However, our Sky Fire Marshal House only accepts geniuses among geniuses. Therefore, you will face a puppet that is one realm higher than you. In other words, a rank 6 Spirit Beast Master will face a rank 1 Beast Illusion Master puppet test. A rank 1 Beast Illusion Master will face a rank 2 Beast Illusion Master puppet test. Elder Lu explained in detail the rules of the puppet test. Fighting above one's rank. After knowing the rules of the puppet assessment, many disciples who passed the first round by luck had an ugly expression on their faces. Their hearts were filled with apprehension. Puppets were different from soul cultivators. Their physical defense was extremely terrifying. More importantly, they did not know pain and only knew how to kill. Their combat strength was definitely the most terrifying among those of the same rank. Trash, a bunch of trash. The powerful Shang Guanpeng took in everyone's expressions. His eyes were filled with contempt. However, when he glanced at Yi Qinfeng's face, he realized that Yi Qinfeng was calm and unaffected. I want to see how strong your combat strength is. Shang Guanpeng's eyes shone with an ominous glint as he muttered in his heart. All right, everyone get ready. When I call your name, go to the weapon rack and choose your weapon. Then, enter the array for the assessment. Elder Lu said in a deep voice. Zhang Xian. Zhang Xian was the son of the Zijin Kingdom's great general, Zhang Yin. He had some fame in the Zijin Imperial City. At the age of 21, he had broken through to the 6th grade Spirit Beast realm. His talent was only slightly inferior to Ji Qingshue's. In the first round, he had hit 1500 Jin and was ranked 11th. Zhang Xian calmly walked out and selected a long spear made of rebar steel from the weapon rack. He then walked into the array that was covered with array patterns. Release the Black Wolf puppet. Following Elder Lu's order, the defensive runes were activated. A Black Wolf puppet walked out of the cage. It was over 5 meters long and half of its head was covered in scales. It had reached the level of a level 1 beast illusionist. Its body emitted a ferocious, tyrannical, and bloodthirsty aura that made people tremble in fear. Ayo! The Black Wolf puppet opened its bloody eyes and looked at Zhang Xian, who was not far away. Suddenly, it launched an attack at him. With a swift speed, it drew a black shadow in its original position and bit at his neck. Zhang Xian did not expect the Black Wolf puppet's attack to be so fast. He fused with his spiritual beast to increase his soul power while dodging the attack. However, under the impact of the Black Wolf puppet's violent aura, his dodging speed was affected to a certain extent. His back was slashed by the Black Wolf puppet's sharp claws, and a large amount of blood flowed out of his wounds. The body of a spirit beast was weak. With Zhang Xian's body injured, his attack power was greatly reduced. His attacks were completely suppressed by the Black Wolf puppet. Coupled with the fact that the Black Wolf puppet's defense was amazing, his attacks could not break through the Black Wolf puppet's defense. Chapter 44. Zhang Xian actually admitted defeat. This puppet test is simply too difficult. Looking at Zhang Xian, who had barely escaped death from the jaws of the Black Wolf puppet, covered in blood and on the verge of death, many people felt uneasy. Next, Su Ping. Elder Lu ordered his men to carry the heavily injured Zhang Xian away for treatment and said loudly, I admit defeat. I don't want to take the assessment. Su Ping was a charming girl in her early 20s. She was inferior to Zhang Xian in terms of strength and talent. Therefore, when she saw Zhang Xian's fate, she was so scared that her face turned pale and she admitted defeat on the spot. Su Ping's surrender made Elder Lu frown slightly. He continued to shout, Next, Shen Tui. Third brother, do your best. Shen Tubing clenched her fists and cheered for Shen Tui. Shen Tui did not disappoint. He held a sharp saber in his hand and used only half an hour to shatter the puppet that was 1 level higher than him. He passed the assessment. After shattering the puppet, Shen Tui's face revealed a trace of arrogance. However, this time, he did not provoke Yi Qinfeng. Clearly, Yi Qinfeng's results in the first round had intimidated him. Very good. Next, Feng Xiao Xiao. After Shen Tui, Feng Xiao Xiao, Shen Tubing, Ji Qingxue, and the others defeated the puppet and passed the second round. However, the time they took to defeat the puppet was far less than Shen Tui's. Among them, Ji Qingxue fought bitterly for half an hour. In the end, she relied on her spirit beast's ability to restrain the puppet's attributes to pass the second round. Ji Qingxue and the others passed the assessment in thrilling fashion. However, even more people were eliminated and lost the qualification to enter the Sky Fire Marshal House. Shangwan Peng. Elder Lu glanced at the remaining 9 disciples and pointed out Shangwan Peng, who had the highest cultivation level among them. The weapon Shangwan Peng chose was a huge axe that weighed 150 kilograms. Coupled with his strong and burly body, it was extremely powerful. Ayo! As Shang Guanping stood proudly in the middle of the ruins, a bear puppet flew out of the cage. It opened its bloody maw and attacked Shang Guanping with a powerful force. Although the violent bear puppet was extremely terrifying, and its explosive power was enough to crush many of the geniuses present, Shang Guanping, who had been tempered by life and death situations, had long possessed the ability to fight above his level. As a large bird emitting green light appeared on Shang Guanping's body, his soul power erupted like a volcanic eruption. Gale slash! Shangguan Peng roared, and a huge axe shining with fire fell from the sky, carrying with it the power to destroy everything. It ruthlessly chopped the bear puppet's body, directly splitting a deep gash in its chest, and its huge body flew backwards. Strong, too strong. With the strength that Shangguan Peng displayed, I'm afraid that he has the ability to fight someone 2 levels above him. Seeing the power of Shangguan Peng's axe, almost everyone was shocked and did not speak for a long time. At this moment, Shen Tui had to admit that Shangguan Peng was much, much stronger than him. Unless he increased his cultivation level, he wouldn't have the courage to challenge Shangguan Peng. Shangguan Peng used his soul skill, Ardent Gale Slash, to severely injure the violent bear puppet. Shangguan Peng took advantage of the opportunity to pursue and attack. As his feet slid, his burly body flashed behind the violent bear puppet at an extremely fast speed. What a fast speed! Yi Qinfeng originally thought that Shangguan Peng was only terrifying in terms of pure attack power, but he didn't expect that his movement speed was equally astonishing. Go to hell! Without waiting for the violent bear puppet to come back to its senses, Shangguan Peng waved his heavy axe and ruthlessly chopped the violent bear puppet's head, directly chopping it off and ending the battle. This Shangguan Hong should be my biggest competitor. After seeing Shangguan Hong's terrifying strength, Yi Qinfeng felt immense pressure. He had to admit that the current him was definitely not Shangguan Hong's match. Yi Qinfeng. Just as Yi Qinfeng was marveling at Shangguan Hong's strength, Elder Lu called out his name. Yi Qinfeng, let me see how strong your fighting strength is. I hope that you won't disappoint me. When Shangguan Hong saw that Yi Qinfeng had come on stage after him, he revealed a proud smile. He suppressed his voice and transmitted it into Yi Qinfeng's ears. I won't disappoint you. After saying that, Yi Qinfeng didn't choose any weapon. He walked straight to the array pattern and slowly closed his eyes, beginning to control the array pattern beneath his feet. In just 3 breaths, Yi Qinfeng combined the inherited memories in his mind and fused them with the array pattern beneath his feet, controlling the large array that was formed from the array pattern. If Elder Lu and the others were to know that Yi Qinfeng only used 3 breaths to control the array pattern that they painstakingly inscribed, it would definitely cause a huge commotion. Yi Qinfeng, aren't you going to choose a weapon? Although you are quite strong, you will be at a disadvantage if you take the puppet test barehanded. As Yi Qinfeng had great potential, Elder Lu specially reminded him out of goodwill. Thank you for your concern, Elder Lu. However, I am confident that I can pass the puppet test barehanded. Yi Qinfeng smiled and said in a manner that was neither arrogant nor humble. Overestimating yourself and seeking your own death. Looking at Yi Qinfeng's confident appearance, Shintu Yi was very unhappy. He definitely didn't believe that Yi Qinfeng could defeat a rank 1 beast illusion master puppet barehanded. All right then, release the puppet. Moo. When the beast cage opened, a barbarian bull puppet with stone-like skin, 2 horns that were sharper than blades, and 4 thick and powerful limbs rushed out with blood-red eyes. Barbarian bull. Yi Qinfeng's puppet for the test is actually a barbarian bull. Looks like even the heavens want to destroy him. Barbarian bulls were definitely the strongest beasts of the same level. There are almost no weaknesses on their bodies. Once a barbarian bull activated its berserk skill, its attack power would instantly increase by several folds, enough to kill enemies of a higher level. If Yi Chunfeng had chosen a weapon at the beginning, coupled with his divine power, he would have had a chance to kill the barbarian bull. But unfortunately, Yi Chunfeng didn't choose any weapon. At this moment, almost no one was optimistic about him. There were even a lot of people who were jealous of him, who were rejoicing in his misfortune. Yi Chunfeng, when will you become more mature? What good will acting tough do for you? Ji Qingxue shook her head, feeling that his irrational choice was ridiculous. Seeing the approaching barbarian bull emitting a berserk aura, Yi Chunfeng seemed to have been scared silly. He stood there motionless. Scared silly. This Yi Chunfeng is actually scared silly. Looking at the motionless and unresponsive Yi Chunfeng, many people started to ridicule him. They didn't care about his life or death at all. Seeing that the barbarian bull's sharp horns were about to pierce Yi Chunfeng's body, Yi Chunfeng's half-closed eyes suddenly shot out rays of light as he took a step forward. And this step directly changed the power of the runes. Like chains, the runes bound the barbarian bull's four limbs, causing it to temporarily lose its ability to move. In the next moment, Yi Chunfeng fused with the soul power of the blood egg and borrowed a small portion of the rune's power to punch out with a force of more than 10,000 jin. The terrifying fist brought along an incomparable pressure as it slid through the air. Wherever it passed, the air would explode and the air would surge. Boom! Chapter 45. Silence. Incomparable silence. Witnessing Yi Chunfeng's stunning punch, everyone present was stunned. Everyone's eyes slowly turned from disdain and ridicule to surprise and surprise. In the end, everyone present was stunned. Impossible, this can't be real. How can he have such abnormal power? Is this guy not human? Witnessing the power of Yi Chunfeng's punch, Shen Tuyi broke out in a cold sweat. He regretted provoking Yi Chunfeng even more. Good, very good. Yi Chunfeng, your performance is very good. As Yi Chunfeng completed the fusion of the formation pattern power in an instant, Elder Lu did not notice the changes in the formation pattern. Looking at his stunning performance, Elder Lu's love for talent was aroused. Yi Chunfeng, you are indeed a good opponent. However, the Juku Spirit Pill must be mine. I will not let go of anyone who wants to touch it. Shangguan Peng's eyes flickered with an ominous glint as he muttered in his heart. His performance just now was very outstanding, but Yi Chunfeng's performance was even more outstanding and stunning than his. The limelight completely overshadowed him, which made him feel threatened. Next, Tanhua. About half an hour later, the afternoon assessment was over. After the second round of puppet assessment, only 10 of the 28 disciples were left. 18 of them were eliminated. Among them, Zhang Xian and a few others were seriously injured. They would not be able to recover without 10 days to half a month. All right, today's assessment is over. The final assessment will be held at 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. Remember, don't be late. Otherwise, you will lose the qualification to take the assessment, Elder Lu instructed solemnly. Yes, Elder Lu. Yi Chunfeng and the other 10 people said in unison and left the Immortal Ascension Hall one after another. Shangguan Peng, I think you should not be willing to be suppressed by Yi Chunfeng and lose the Juku Spirit Pill, right? Looking at Yi Chunfeng's departing back, Shen Tuyi walked to Shangguan Peng's side with a gloomy face and deliberately provoked him. What do you want to say? Shangguan Peng, whose eyes flickered, asked in a low voice. I want to use tomorrow's rules to get rid of that brat. There were many geniuses from the Shun Tu family clan in the Sky Fire Marshal House. So, Shen Tuyi was familiar with the rules of tomorrow's assessment. In order to avoid being trampled by Yi Chunfeng, he was prepared to make his move early. What's the matter? Are you familiar with one of the Sky Fire Marshal House disciples who will intercept us tomorrow? Shangguan Peng's eyebrows twitched as he asked in surprise. Shangguan Peng, I won't hide it from you. This time, The team leader in charge of intercepting us in the Purple Cloud Mountain range is called Shentu Shui. He's my cousin, a level 3 beast illusion master expert. As long as he's willing to cooperate with us, with our strength, we'll definitely be able to keep that brat's life in the Purple Cloud Mountain range. Shentu Yi explained the plan in detail. Shentu Yi, although your plan is very thorough, that Yi Qinfeng is a little strange. Once we fail to kill him, the consequences will be very serious. Although Shangguan Peng also wanted to get rid of Yi Qinfeng, he had to consider the consequences. With the three of us working together, the chances of failure are very small. Furthermore, even if that brat is lucky and escapes our pursuit, there's nothing to be afraid of. My cousin intercepting him is his duty. As for the two of us, who will testify for him, Shentu Yi said sinisterly. All right, then I'll wait for your news. If you can convince your cousin, then we'll carry out the plan tomorrow. Shangguan Peng clenched his teeth and agreed. Yi Qinfeng, don't blame me if you die. If you want to blame someone, blame yourself for provoking me. I hope that in your next life, you can keep your eyes open. There are some people you can't afford to offend. Seeing that Shangguan Peng agreed, Shentu Yi revealed a sinister smile, as if he had already foreseen Yi Qinfeng's tragic fate. At dusk, the setting sun hung in the west. The afterglow shone on the purple-gold imperial city, making this ancient city filled with a peaceful and auspicious aura. Master Chun, you've finally come. The family head has prepared a banquet and has been waiting for your arrival. When Yi Qinfeng, who was wearing a human skin mask and dressed in disguise, arrived at the Ji family's old residence under the setting sun, the old housekeeper, who had been waiting outside for a long time, immediately came out to welcome him and politely invited him into the old residence. After continuously taking Yi Qinfeng's medicine, Ji Yinjing's old injuries had basically stabilized. At this moment, he was sternly lecturing Ji Qingxue, who had just returned. Qingxue, since you've already made a private vow with Yi Qinfeng, why did you cancel the engagement for no reason? Do you know that with Yi Qinfeng's performance today, how many families have become restless and are ready to throw him an olive branch? Even the two princes have developed a strong interest in him and want to rope him in. Ji Yinjing said resentfully. So what if he's turned over a new leaf? Back then, I made a private vow with him only to get rid of that annoying fly, Jiang Shanxue. Now that fly is dead. Naturally, I can't continue acting with Yi Qinfeng. Ji Qingxue said, unconvinced. Qingxue, today is different from the past. Grandfather now approves of you and Yi Qinfeng being together. Why don't you talk to him tomorrow and see if you can continue your relationship? Thinking of the Ji family situation, Ji Yinjing helplessly persuaded. Grandfather, don't say any more. Even if I die, I won't marry that annoying guy. Ji Qingxue said firmly. Family head, Master Chun is here. Just as the two were arguing, the old housekeeper brought Yi Qinfeng, who had an ugly expression, into the dining hall. And their argument was coincidentally heard by Yi Qinfeng. Master Chun, you're finally here. When Ji Qingxue saw the mysterious Master Chun, the unhappiness on her face disappeared, and she immediately stood up to welcome him. However, Yi Qinfeng treated Ji Qingxue as air and didn't even look at her. Master Chun, this is the banquet we've prepared for you. Does it suit your taste? Ji Yinjing said with a smile. I'm here to treat my illness, not to eat. Moreover, my time is limited. If family head Ji has nothing else, let's start the treatment immediately. Yi Qinfeng had a feeling that it wouldn't be easy to cross the Purple Cloud Mountain range tomorrow. Therefore, he urgently wanted to obtain the 1,000-year blood ginseng king promised by the Ji family to replenish his blood qi and increase his strength. I'm sorry, Master Chun. I didn't think it through. Let's go to my residence to treat your injuries. Looking at Yi Qinfeng's serious face, Ji Yinjing helplessly smiled. Once upon a time, no one dared to speak to him in such a tone. However, Yi Qinfeng was his only hope. He didn't dare to offend him. You guys don't need to follow me in. I want to treat family head Ji alone. Yi Qinfeng looked at Ji Qingxue and her father behind him and said coldly, Then we'll wait outside. Ji Yinyu bitterly smiled. Ji Qingxue felt even more depressed. She didn't know why, but she felt that Master Chun was hostile towards her. Moreover, he ignored her beauty. Family head Ji, before I treat you, I have something to ask you. Yi Chen-feng pondered for a moment and said, Master Chun, please ask. Does family head Ji want to treat the symptoms or the root of the problem? Yi Chen-feng slowly said. Chapter 46. Master Chun, do you really have a way to treat the root of the problem? Ji Yinzheng asked excitedly. If he could recover from his injuries, the Jiang family would have some misgivings and would not dare to make a move against them. Although your old injuries have worsened, I have a way to help you rebirth. When the time comes, your physical body will change and your old injuries will naturally heal. Rebirth. Ji Yinjing's heart was in turmoil. Excitement surfaced on his aged face as he asked, Master Chen really has a way to help me rebirth. Yes, but before that, you need to give me the 1,000-year blood ginseng king. Yi Chen-feng nodded and stated his conditions. No problem. I will ask you to bring it over. After seeing Yi Chen-feng's superb medical skills, Ji Yinzheng was convinced. He immediately called Ji Yunyu, who was guarding the door, in and ordered him to bring the 1,000-year blood ginseng king to Yi Chen-feng. What a powerful blood qi! As expected of the 1,000-year blood ginseng king, Yi Chen-feng received a jade box made of white jade from Ji Yunyu's hands. When he opened the jade box, a blood ginseng king the size of a palm, completely blood-red in color, with lush roots and a humanoid form, entered his eyes. Looking at the well-preserved 1,000-year blood ginseng king, Yi Chen-feng revealed a satisfied expression. Patriarch Ji, I am very satisfied with this 1,000-year blood ginseng king. As an exchange, I will give you this jade letter. Yi Chen-feng took out a dark green jade letter from his bosom and handed it to Ji Yinzheng. This jade letter was forcefully made by him with the help of the God-Eater brain. It recorded the first 2 layers of the 6 meridians' divine shield. This is? Ji Yinzheng was curious and released his soul power to permeate it. When he skimmed through the contents of the jade letter, a kind of shock and excitement began to emerge on his aged face. In the end, a look of horror filled his face. Could this be an upper rank or top rank spiritual soul technique? Ji Yinzheng was a discerning person. He noticed that the soul incantation recorded in the jade letter was far superior to his mid-grade soul incantation, frost water incantation. At this moment, he completely believed that as long as he cultivated according to the contents of the jade letter, it would be easy for him to be reborn. Breaking through to the Earth Beast general realm would no longer be a dream. Family head Ji, the cultivation method recorded in this jade slip was imparted to me by my master. I hope that you will not spread it out. Otherwise, if my master blames you, there might be trouble. Yi Chen-feng looked at the agitated Ji Yinzheng and warned him sternly. Master Chun, I will never forget your kindness to me. I swear that without your permission, I will never pass on this precious body-tempering soul technique to anyone else. Ji Yinzheng nodded and made a solemn vow. All right, Master Chun. Is your master a member of the sect? Based on this precious jade letter, Ji Yinzheng guessed that Yi Chen-feng might have a master from a sect, so he wanted to befriend him. If he could befriend Yi Chen-feng's master, then the Ji family's status would skyrocket. In the future, they might even have the chance to replace the Jiang family and become the #1 family in the kingdom of Zijin. Regarding my master, please forgive me for keeping a secret. Yi Chen-feng shook his head and said vaguely, All right, family head Ji, it's getting late. Let's start healing. In a while, I will use the silver needles to forcefully open up the main meridians in your body. The process might be a little painful, but the benefits are obvious. Yi Chen-feng did not waste any more time. He let Ji Yinzheng lie down and started using the heavenly profound needles to heal him and forcefully open up his meridians. Fortunately, when Ji Yinzheng was young, he had laid down a good foundation for cultivation. This saved Yi Chen-feng a lot of effort and time. Family head Ji, can you still endure it? Yi Chen-feng asked as he looked at Ji Yinzheng, who was convulsing in pain with veins popping out his forehead. No problem, I can still endure it. Ji Yinzheng squeezed out a few words from the gap of his teeth. He clenched his fists and relied on his strong endurance to endure the inhumane torture. About 2 hours later, when Yi Qinfeng was about to exhaust his soul power, he finally opened up the main meridians in Ji Yinjing's body with difficulty. Phew, I finally succeeded. Yi Qinfeng let out a long sigh of relief. He removed the silver needles from Ji Yinjing's acupuncture points and said weakly, "This is all I can do. You can only rely on yourself for the rest." "Master Chun, thank you. I feel much better now." Feeling that his meridians were much smoother, Ji Yinjing showed a grateful expression and said, "If you need any help in the future, Master Chun can come to my Ji family. No matter who is in charge of the Ji family in the future, we will do our best to help you. We're just taking what we need. Family head Ji, you don't have to worry too much." Yi Qinfeng said indifferently. He took out a low-grade soul crystal and held it in his hand to recover his soul power. "Yin Yu, quickly bring the items that my Ji family put up for a reward. See if there's anything that Master Chen needs." While Yi Qinfeng was recovering, Ji Yinzheng called Ji Yin in and ordered him to bring all the items that were put up for a reward. "Grandfather, how are your injuries?" Ji Qing Shui glanced at Yi Qinfeng, who was recuperating, and asked with concern. "Master Chen's miraculous hands have brought me back to life. My injuries are no longer a problem. I estimate that it won't be long before I fully recover." Ji Yin lovingly stroked Ji Qingshue's head and revealed a gentle smile. Roughly 5 minutes later, Yi Qinfeng recovered a small portion of his soul power. He picked out 2 soul recovery pills that could increase the recovery speed of his soul power, a hidden weapon that was quite powerful, the Thorn Sphere, and a slightly yellowed scroll without any words. Even the Ji family couldn't tell the origin of this scroll. The reason why Yi Qinfeng picked this seemingly worthless scroll was because when his finger touched the scroll, the God-Eater brain was slightly agitated. "Patriarch Ji, I still have matters to attend to, so I won't be staying any longer." After picking out the treasures, Yi Qinfeng couldn't wait to rush back and refine the 1,000-year blood ginseng king to replenish the blood in his body and increase his strength. "Master Chun, can you tell me if it was you who saved me and Xia in the Baiyun mountain range?" Seeing that Yi Qinfeng was about to leave, Ji Qing Shui immediately called out to him. She looked at him with longing eyes and asked in anticipation, So what if it wasn't? Let's not talk about the past." Yi Qinfeng said ambiguously, "What's wrong, Qing Xue? Did Master Chun save you in Baidi City?" Ji Yinzheng raised his eyebrows and revealed a trace of surprise. "Yes, if I'm not mistaken, Master Chun is the benefactor of me and Xia." Although Yi Qinfeng's answer was vague, Ji Qing Shui was basically sure that Yi Qinfeng was the one who saved her. "I didn't expect my Ji clan to owe Master Chen a favor. Master Chen, what do you think of Qing Xue? If you're interested, I'll betroth her to you to repay your kindness to my Ji clan," Ji Yinzheng said half-jokingly. As soon as Ji Yinzheng finished speaking, 2 intoxicating blushes appeared on Ji Qing Shui's devastatingly beautiful face. It was as if there was a little deer hidden in her heart, thumping wildly. "Your granddaughter is not bad, but as far as I know, she's privately engaged to someone called Yi Qinfeng in Baidi City." Yi Qinfeng sneered in his heart and said deliberately, No, the engagement between Yi Qinfeng and I is only due to a transaction. There's no substantial relationship between us." Hearing Yi Qinfeng's answer, Ji Qing Shui's face turned pale, and she quickly explained. Chapter 47. The night mist came, and the quiet night was a little cold. Under the hazy moonlight, there were not many stars. Yi Qinfeng circled around the imperial city to make sure that no one was following him. He quickly returned to the small courtyard he rented, took a bath, changed his clothes, and adjusted his state of mind. When Yi Qinfeng adjusted his state of mind to the best state, he did not immediately swallow the 1,000-year-old blood ginseng king. Instead, he took out the scroll that had caused the God-Eater brain to become restless. I wonder what's so special about this scroll. Yi Qinfeng was curious. He pressed his hand on the scroll and silently sensed the truth of the scroll. Array pattern. There are actually sealing array patterns in this scroll. With the powerful sensing ability of the God-Eater brain, Yi Chunfeng discovered that there were many mysterious array patterns hidden in the scroll that concealed the true information of the scroll. Great! Combining the power of the God-Eater brain and the array pattern inheritance, Yi Chunfeng spent nearly half an hour to break more than 10 sealing array patterns in the scroll. The next moment, a large number of patterns appeared on the slightly yellowed sheepskin scroll. They gathered into hundreds of ancient characters that were different from this era. Although Yi Chunfeng did not recognize these ancient characters, the God-Eater brain was able to distinguish the meaning of these characters. Profound Frost Spirit Water. I didn't expect this scroll to be related to the profound Frost Spirit Water, Yi Chunfeng said in surprise. According to the inherited memories of the God-Eater brain, Yi Chunfeng knew that the Duhan continent, which had a long history, had a mysterious and destructive spiritual item. Some of these spiritual items were left behind by ancient experts. Some were born from the changes of heaven and earth, and some were evolved through time and space. If he could take these spiritual items for his own use, they would be a great help to him and greatly increase his strength. However, these spiritual items were extremely rare and difficult to subdue. Many top experts of the Duhan continent had chased after them for their entire lives, but in the end, they had failed to do so. And the profound Frost Spirit Water recorded in the sheepskin scroll was one of the spiritual treasures of heaven and earth. It could only be produced in an extremely cold place, and the energy it contained could easily freeze an earth beast general expert to death. I never thought that the snow mountain not far from the Zijin kingdom would actually contain the profound Frost Spirit Water that would make countless experts jealous. However, with my current strength, even if I find a profound Frost Spirit Water, I won't be able to subdue it. But the Ice Heart Spring nurtured by the profound Frost Spiritual Water has a miraculous effect on tempering the body. If I can obtain it, it should be able to speed up my cultivation of the third level of the 6 Meridians Divine Shield Realm. Yi Chunfeng muttered to himself. He controlled the God-Eater brain to forcibly memorize the contents of the sheepskin scroll and burned it to ashes. It's time to devour this 1,000-year-old blood ginseng king. Yi Chunfeng took a look at the time and took out the precious 1,000-year-old blood ginseng king. I wonder how much chi and blood this 1,000-year-old blood ginseng king can replenish. Yi Chunfeng had just reached the 2nd level of the 6 Meridians Divine Shield Realm, so his chi and blood were severely depleted. He was not worried about wasting the medicinal power of the 1,000-year-old blood ginseng king. So sweet, this 1,000-year-old blood ginseng king is actually sweet. Yi Chunfeng took a small bite of the 1,000-year-old blood ginseng king. He discovered that the taste of the blood ginseng king was completely different from normal ginseng. It was sweet and tasty, gentle and soft. After swallowing a small piece of the 1,000-year-old blood ginseng king, Yi Chunfeng immediately felt waves of pure qi and blood spreading out from his body. They flowed into his crisscrossing meridians and quickly merged with his active cells. Feeling the qi and blood in his body slowly increasing, Yi Chunfeng took another bite of the 1,000-year-old blood ginseng king and swallowed it. He then followed the cultivation method of the 6 Meridians Divine Shield Realm and started cultivating. As the cells in his body absorbed more and more qi and blood, his body started to heat up. His skin turned blood red, as if he could make it bleed with a light press. Feeling the vigorous qi and blood in his body showing signs of seeping out from his pores, Yi Chunfeng immediately closed his pores to prevent the qi and blood from leaking out and wasting the intelligence of the 1,000-year-old blood ginseng king. As time passed, Yi Chunfeng took the 1,000-year-old blood ginseng king and cultivated the 6 Meridians Divine Shield Realm. Soon, rays of gentle sunlight pierced through the dark clouds and shone on the earth. It was daybreak. After a night of cultivation, Yi Chunfeng had basically absorbed the qi and blood contained in the 1,000-year-old blood ginseng king. He had replenished 60% of his qi and blood. With his qi and blood replenished, his physical strength increased rapidly. In just one night, his physical strength had increased from 5,500 pounds to a shocking 7,500 pounds. More importantly, after refining the 1,000-year-old blood ginseng king, He was on the verge of breaking through to the next level. His vitality had become even stronger. It could be said that although Yi Chuanfeng did not break through to the next level, his strength had increased by a lot. I wonder if with my current strength, I can crush Shang Wanpeng? Shang Wanpeng was Yi Chuanfeng's only opponent in this assessment. Furthermore, Yi Chuanfeng guessed that Shang Wanpeng would not be willing to be suppressed by him and lose the precious 9 Chu spiritual pill. Shang Wanpeng would definitely make a move against him during the Purple Cloud Mountain Range assessment. Shang Wanpeng, if you dare to make a move against me today, I will definitely give you an unforgettable memory. Yi Chuanfeng revealed an unruly smile. After washing up and eating, he walked towards the Immortal Ascension Hall to prepare for the final assessment. About an hour later, Yi Chuanfeng arrived at the Immortal Ascension Hall under the first rays of the morning sun. At this time, he discovered that besides him, the other 9 people were all present. Because passing through the Purple Cloud Mountain Range was related to whether or not they could become disciples of the Sky Fire Martial House and enjoy the rich cultivation resources, Shang Wanpeng, Shen Tuyi, and the rest of the 9 people all chose to form teams. They separated into small groups and isolated Yi Chuanfeng, who had the best results. However, Yi Chuanfeng did not mind. With his ability to replenish 60% of his blood qi, he was confident that he could pass through the Purple Cloud Mountain Range and pass the final assessment with the best results. Just as Yi Chuanfeng was quietly standing to the side, waiting for Elder Lu to arrive, his sharp senses detected a resentful gaze on him. Without looking, Yi Chuanfeng could guess that the resentful gaze belonged to Ji Qingxue. She was still brooding over what happened last night. About 5 minutes later, an ear-piercing cry reverberated through the 9 heavens. A green-winged dove with a wingspan of more than 10 meters flew over the Purple Cloud Mountain Range. It was covered in green feathers and had a wingspan of more than 10 meters. Legend had it that the green-winged dove had the blood of the blue luan flowing in its body. When it flew at high speed, it could fly for thousands of miles in a day. It was the favorite flying spirit beast of some large sections. All disciples, listen up. Quickly jump onto the back of the green-winged dove. I will bring you into the Purple Cloud Mountain Range for the final assessment. Elder Lu signaled the green-winged dove to fly lower and ordered loudly. Hearing Elder Lu's order, Shang Wanpeng, Shen Tuyi, and the rest merged with their spirit beasts and shot up like arrows towards the green-winged dove. Due to Shang Wanpeng and Shen Tuyi's outstanding strength, they naturally occupied the best spot on the green-winged dove's back. However, before Shen Tuyi could stand firm, a powerful force slammed into his body and sent him flying. Sorry, I have reserved this spot. Chapter 48. The Purple Cloud Mountain Range was the largest mountain range in the Zijin Kingdom. It stretched for hundreds of thousands of li and covered almost a fifth of the entire Zijin Kingdom. Within the vast forests of the Purple Cloud Mountain Range, there were many fierce beasts. It was said that in the deepest parts of the Purple Cloud Mountain Range, there were spirit beasts comparable to Earth Beast generals. In addition, the Purple Cloud Mountain Range was covered by the Heavenly Flame Martial House. It was very easy for people to get lost in there. Gradually, the Purple Cloud Mountain Range became a forbidden area and very few people dared to enter. The green-winged dove led the group to fly above the 9 heavens for more than 4 hours, and they arrived outside a restriction covered by a light screen. Formation pattern. Looking at the light screen in front of them, Yi Chuanfeng recognized that it was made up of 13 small and large restrictions. It was not very powerful and was mainly used for blocking. All of you, stand properly. Elder Lu instructed. A strong spirit power burst out from his body and bombarded the light screen in front of them. In the next moment, the light screen fluctuated violently, forming ripples of energy. The vibrations caused the air to compress rapidly, forming a flow of air. Fortunately, Yi Chuanfeng and the rest had extraordinary strength. Relying on their own abilities, they were able to withstand the flow of air and stand firmly on the green-winged dove. The light screen opened and the green-winged dove let out a long cry. Its huge wings flapped rapidly, creating a hurricane as it flew into the light screen and landed on the ground. All right, this is the place where you will be tested. As long as you pass through the mountains in front of you and reach the heavenly flame martial house in the evening, you will be considered to have passed the test. Elder Lu jumped down from the green-winged dove and looked at Shang Guanping and the rest who were eager to try. However, during this period of time, you'll be attacked by the fierce beasts and spirit beasts residing in the mountain range. You will also be obstructed by the older students. Whether you can reach the heavenly flame martial house in the end will depend on your ability. Elder Lu explained the rules of the test in detail. Obstructed by the older students? So the secret to passing through the purple cloud mountain range is here. Yi Chenfeng muttered to himself. Yi Chenfeng, just you wait. In a while, we will settle our old and new grudges together. I will definitely torture you to death. Shun Tui, who had just been pushed off the green-winged dove by Yi Chenfeng, gritted his teeth and muttered in his heart. Yi Chenfeng, are you interested in making a bet with me? Let's see who will be the first to cross the violet cloud mountains and arrive at the sky fire marshal house. Shangguan Peng walked to Yi Chenfeng's side, patted him on the shoulder, and said deliberately, "What do you want to bet?" Ever since Yi Chenfeng had fused with the God-Eater brain, his soul perception had reached an unimaginable level. He could easily detect the tracking mark that Shangguan Peng had left on his clothes. However, he didn't expose Shangguan Peng's little trick. Instead, he asked coldly, how about we bet on each other's rewards? Shangguan Peng suggested, pretending to be contemplative. Sure, I promise you. Yi Chenfeng nodded and said, I wonder if Elder Lu can be our witness. All right, since you are interested in making a bet, then I will be your witness. Elder Lu nodded and said, Yi Chenfeng, do you really think that I want to bet with you? You are too naive. Shangguan Peng revealed a trace of a sinister smile as he muttered in his heart. However, he didn't know that his little trick had already been seen through by Yi Chenfeng. All right, the test has officially begun. You can cross the Violet Cloud mountain range now, Elder Lu announced loudly. So. Just as Elder Lu's words fell, there was the sound of the air being torn apart. Yi Chenfeng and the other 10 people all sped up. Like flying arrows, they flew into the lush forest. Because of the soul mark left on Yi Chenfeng's body, Shangguan Peng and Elder Lu weren't afraid of losing him. However, they didn't pursue Yi Chenfeng on their own. They were prepared to wait until Yi Chenfeng was in the deepest part of the Violet Cloud mountain range, where Elder Lu and the others couldn't see. Then, they would make a move on him and eliminate a great threat. This Violet Cloud mountain range is indeed a blessed land. Yi Chenfeng was like an agile ape. As he continued to climb the Violet Cloud mountain range, a huge picturesque scene gradually appeared before his eyes. The sea of clouds was boundless. The mountain peaks were towering, and the deep blue stream was winding between the mountain peaks. Slowly moving, the clouds and mist lingered around the mountainside, complementing each other. It was a different kind of celestial feeling. Just as Yi Chenfeng was shuttling through the mountains and rivers, his sharp senses detected 2 indistinct soul power undulations in front of him. He guessed that there were people nearby, and his body flashed slightly as he decisively leaped into a lush thicket. He retracted his aura and hid within it. After about 10 breaths of time, 2 light sounds broke through the air. 2 young men wearing luxurious robes and holding snakeskin swords appeared at the same time. They used their sharp eyes to scan the quiet forest. From the aura emitted from their bodies, these 2 were rank 2 beast illusionists. Their strength was on par with Shangguan Peng. If it was a one-on-one battle, Yi Chenfeng was confident that he could defeat any one of them. However, facing 2 of them alone, Yi Chenfeng didn't want to take the risk and didn't make a sneak attack. That's strange. I clearly felt that there was someone here. Why did he suddenly disappear? Because the tall man cultivated the soul formula. His soul perception was far superior to ordinary people. Therefore, he had just sensed Yi Chenfeng's presence, but when he rushed over, he found that there was no one here. This puzzled him. Lian Lu, did you sense wrongly? His companion opened his mouth and asked. That shouldn't be the case. Lian Lu closed his eyes and sensed his surroundings. Indeed, he didn't sense any abnormalities. He shook his head and muttered to himself, "Maybe I really sensed wrongly." After speaking, the two of them didn't stop. They entered the forest and continued to search for the scattered candidates. The disciples of the Sky Fire Marshal House are indeed not simple. Yi Chenfeng hid in the thicket for a while until the two of them were far away. Only then did he leave the thicket and continue to move in the direction of the Sky Fire Marshal House. Time passed by minute. As he got closer, the number of vicious beasts in the forest increased. However, Yi Chenfeng's strength was no longer the same as before. Unless he encountered a terrifying spirit beast, he wouldn't be afraid even if he encountered a rank 9 vicious beast. Bang! Yi Chenfeng's powerful punch landed on a venomous Fang wolf, causing its head to explode. Its huge body smashed into an ancient tree and died on the spot. I wonder how far I am from the Sky Fire Marshal House. After killing a venomous Fang wolf, Yi Chenfeng leaped onto the crown of a 10-meter-tall iron oak tree. He looked into the distance and determined the direction. Just as he determined the direction and continued to approach the Sky Fire Marshal House, a terrified scream rang out in the silent forest. It's her. Chapter 49. What a beautiful young lady. A tall and sturdy man, whose robe was half open, revealing his thick chest hair, looked at the tall, elegant, and beautiful Ji Qingxue, and his eyes immediately lit up. "When Fei Hong, let's break out together. We should have a chance to escape." Ji Qingxue was disgusted by the burly man's lecherous eyes and quickly shouted to her companion, "Break out? With your strength?" The burly man revealed a disdainful smile. A powerful aura erupted from his body like a towering mountain, pressing down on Ji Qingxue and Wen Fei Hong, causing their breathing to quicken. In the next moment, an octopus with 8 soft tentacles emitting green light emerged from his body. It released soul power and locked onto Ji Qingxue and Wen Fei Hong. Rank 2 Beast Illusionist. Sensing the burly man's strength, Ji Qingxue and Wen Fei Hong's faces immediately turned grave. Every disciple of the Sky Fire Marshal House had extraordinary talents. After painstakingly cultivating in the Sky Fire Marshal House, they had the ability to fight above their rank. In addition, the burly man's strength far exceeded theirs, and he had a powerful soul skill. Ji Qingxue and Wen Fei Hong had almost no chance of escaping. "Senior brother, I am from the Imperial City's Wen clan, and this is the eldest daughter of the Ji clan. I wonder if senior brother can be magnanimous and let us go. As long as we pass the test, we will definitely repay senior brother generously." Wen Fei Hong took a deep breath and tried his best to calm himself down before begging for mercy. "Eldest daughter of the Ji clan, could it be that you are the #1 beauty in the Imperial City, Ji Qingxue?" The burly man's eyes lit up as he guessed Ji Qingxue's identity. "That's me. If senior brother can let us go, I am willing to give senior brother 1,000,000 taels of silver." Ji Qingxue bit her alluring red lips and made a heavy promise. "Haha, what if I don't agree?" The burly man looked at Ji Qingxue's beautiful face with a burning gaze, and a perverted thought appeared in his mind. "Senior brother, what do you want to let us go?" Wen Fei Hong asked nervously. He really did not want to lose the opportunity to enter the Sky Fire Marshal House. "As for you, I can consider letting you go." The burly man rolled his eyes and said with a naughty smile, "What about Qingxue?" Wen Fei Hong glanced at the pale and trembling Qingxue and asked, "Boy, don't you know your situation? Get the hell out of here." The burly man's face instantly turned gloomy. He stared at him like a hungry wolf and fiercely ordered, Although Wen Fei Hong had a good relationship with Ji Qingxue, when he thought of the benefits of becoming a disciple of the Sky Fire Marshal House, he hesitated. "Since you don't know what's good for you, don't blame me for being impolite." With that, the burly man fused with the power of his spiritual beast, the octopus, and performed a powerful soul skill. Rock Transformation Fist. The burly man threw out a punch, and his surging soul power instantly condensed into a rock-like fist light. It smashed toward Wen Fei Hong like a hot knife through butter. Pooh! After being attacked by the burly man's soul skill, the defense that Fei Hong had formed using his soul power was instantly broken. He was directly sent flying by the rock transformation fist. He spat out a mouthful of blood towards the sky and flew dozens of meters away. I'll count to 3. If you don't get the hell out of here, don't blame me for crippling you. The burly man coldly looked at Fei Hong, who was spitting out blood, and threatened him. Qingxue, I'm sorry. I can't lose this opportunity. Hearing the burly man's threat, Fei Hong was truly afraid. Under Qingxue's despairing gaze, he clutched his severely injured chest and staggered away. Little beauty, now that no one is disturbing us, can we have a good talk? The burly man lecherously looked at Qingxue's curvaceous body and said with ill intentions, What do you want? If you dare to hurt me, Elder Lu will never let you off. Qingxue's face was deathly pale as she retreated and warned him. Hurt you? Who can prove that I hurt you? The burly man sneered and said, Don't tell me you expect that trash to stand out and testify for you. Also, do you think Elder Lu will support a disciple who didn't pass the Sky Fire Marshal House's assessment? What do you want to let me go? The burly man's words were like a dagger that pierced into the depths of Qingxue's heart and shattered her last hope. I've never tasted the taste of the Imperial City's #1 beauty in all my life. If you can serve me well, I guarantee that you'll pass the assessment and become a disciple of the Sky Fire Marshal House. The burly man said excitedly, Don't even think about it. Qingxue bit her lips and said in humiliation. Tears kept welling up in her eyes. That's not up to you. After saying that, the burly man picked up a slender branch from the ground and attacked Qingxue. Qingxue wasn't a match for the burly man. In her fear, she could only use 80% of her strength and was completely suppressed by the burly man. In just half an incense stick's time, crisscrossing marks appeared on Qingxue's clothes. The strength of these marks was just right, only tearing her clothes. If you don't stop, I'll die in front of you. Qingxue clutched her severely damaged clothes and warned him in despair as she dodged. Haha, do you think it's possible for you to commit suicide in front of me? The tall and sturdy man stared fixedly at Qingxue's exposed soft and delicate skin as he laughed arrogantly. Come here. The burly man took a big step forward and suddenly closed in on Qingxue. He wanted to pull her into his arms and play with her sexy body. Go to hell. When the burly man closed in, Qingxue's right hand suddenly raised, and a spiky ball flew out at an extremely fast speed towards the burly man's body. Suddenly attacked by a hidden weapon, the burly man immediately released his soul power to block it. However, the spiky ball was too powerful. It penetrated his soul power defense and hit his chest, causing a large amount of blood to flow out. With the burly man injured, Qingxue didn't hesitate to turn and run. She wanted to use this last chance to escape from the burly man's pursuit. Damn it, where are you running to? The burly man roared. He controlled his soul power to force out the spiky ball and chased after Qingxue, ignoring the injury on his chest. A starving camel was still bigger than a horse. Although the burly man was heavily injured, his speed was far superior to Qingxue's. In just 5 breaths, he blocked Qingxue's path. Stinking woman, you forced me to do this. The burly man covered his bloody chest and walked towards Qingxue, who was filled with despair and looked pitiful. If I don't play you to death today, I'll change my surname to yours. The burly man roared. With a strong sense of oppression, he pounced towards the terrified Qingxue. He wanted to press her under his body and vent the anger in his heart. Chapter 50. Yi Chenfeng. The despairing Qingxue saw a familiar figure appear in front of her eyes. He unleashed a powerful aura and launched a fatal attack at the burly man. Boom! Yi Chenfeng's fist, which had compressed his strength to the limit, collided with the burly man's hastily blocked fist. Following that, Yi Chenfeng's strength, which was boosted by nearly 5,000 kilograms after fusing with the blood egg, clashed with the burly man's destructive soul force and caused ripples of energy to appear. Crack! As the ripples of energy became more and more concentrated, a crisp cracking sound suddenly rang out in the silent forest. The burly man watched in horror as the soul force covering his arm began to crack. The powerful force broke into his arm, shaking the skin on his arm to the point that it suddenly burst open. Even his white bones were unable to withstand such a terrifying force, breaking inch by inch, piercing out of his badly mangled skin. It was a ghastly sight. After succeeding with one strike, Yi Chunfeng did not give the burly man any chance to catch his breath. His body was like a spinning top as he spun on the spot. His right leg, which was filled with the force of 10,000 Jin, landed a solid kick on the burly man's chest. The burly man's chest had already been injured by the spiky ball. Now that he was hit again, his chest caved in and several of his ribs broke. He spat out a mouthful of blood, and his body was like a kite with its string cut. He crashed to the ground and couldn't get up for a long time. "Are you all right?" Yi Chunfeng looked at Ji Qingxue, whose clothes were severely damaged, and asked without a trace of emotion. Thank you for saving me." Ji Qingxue never dreamed that the person who saved her in the end would be Yi Chunfeng, who she hated from the bottom of her heart. Furthermore, when Yi Chunfeng launched his sneak attack, she vaguely felt a sense of familiarity. However, she never thought that Yi Chunfeng and Master Chun were the same person. She didn't suspect his identity. "Be careful in the future." Yi Chunfeng nodded and turned his gaze to the heavily injured burly man whose chest had caved in. He walked over step by step. What do you want?" As he met Yi Chunfeng's cold gaze, the tall and sturdy man's heart trembled. He braced himself and warned, "The Sky Fire Martial House strictly forbids killing each other. If you hurt me again, you will be violating the Martial House's rules and will be severely punished by the Martial House." "Really? Then what were you doing just now?" Yi Chunfeng sneered and said with killing intent. Although Yi Chunfeng didn't want to have anything to do with Ji Qingxue, he hated the tall and sturdy man's despicable actions. If it wasn't for his misgivings, he definitely wouldn't have let this kind of scum live in this world. "It was all my fault. Please spare me." In order to survive, the burly man had no choice but to swallow his anger and beg for mercy. "Forget it, Chunfeng. I just secretly used the memory stone to remember what happened. When we arrive at the Sky Flame Martial House, we'll report this matter to Elder Liu and ask him to uphold justice for us and severely punish this bastard." Although Ji Qingxue couldn't wait to cut the tall and sturdy man into pieces, she didn't dare to violate the Martial House's rules. She softly persuaded Yi Chunfeng. "Memory stone." Hearing Ji Qingxue's words, the tall and sturdy man's face turned ashen and his eyes revealed a trace of killing intent. If Ji Qingxue really did have the memory stone, he wouldn't be able to defend himself and would no longer have a foothold in the Sky Fire Martial House. "The two of you, I really know my wrongs. I beg the two of you not to report what happened today to Elder Liu. As long as you are willing to let me go, I will agree to any conditions." The tall and sturdy man bitterly begged. "Scum, just wait for the Sky Fire Martial House's punishment." Ji Qingxue glared at him and said resentfully. If Yi Chunfeng hadn't appeared in time to save her, she would have been ruined by the tall and sturdy man, and her life would have been ruined. "No, don't go. I have a 9th grade pill here. As long as you are willing to let me go, I will give you this 9th grade pill." The tall and sturdy man disregarded his injuries and stood in front of Yi Chunfeng and Ji Qingxue. He took out a dark green box from his belt. 9th grade pill. Yi Chunfeng's eyebrows twitched slightly as he cast his gaze towards the dark green box in the tall and sturdy man's hand. The moment the tall and sturdy man opened the box, Yi Chunfeng's sharp soul perception immediately sensed danger. He instinctively held his breath and dodged to the side. The moment he dodged, a cloud of fog erupted from the dark green box and sprayed onto Ji Qingxue's face, who couldn't react in time. Ji Qingxue only took a small whiff of the fog and felt a severe sense of dizziness. Her body swayed and fell to the ground, unconscious. Not good. The tall and sturdy man didn't expect Yi Chunfeng to be so agile. The fog that he had deliberately released was actually dodged by him. His heart trembled and he turned to run. "Do you think you can escape?" Yi Chenfeng sneered. His legs suddenly exerted force, and like a swift cheetah, he kept increasing his speed and intercepted the tall and sturdy man who had lost his head out of fear. Rock transformation fist. The tall and sturdy man knew the consequences of being stopped. Ignoring his injuries, he forcefully used a powerful soul skill in an attempt to force Yi Chenfeng back. If he was in his peak condition, he could still pose a threat to Yi Chenfeng by using the rock transformation fist. But now he was seriously injured and could only use 30% of his strength. Boom! The moment the two fists collided, Yi Chenfeng's fist burst forth with a force of nearly 10,000 jin. It shattered the tall and sturdy man's soul skill and broke his arm, forcing him to retreat. I originally wanted to spare your life, but it seems that I don't need to anymore. Yi Chenfeng looked at the tall and sturdy man who was vomiting blood with a cold gaze. He didn't hide the killing intent in his heart. If not for his sharp soul perception, he would have been doomed if he had fallen into the tall and sturdy man's hands. You can't kill me. If you kill me, the Sky Fire Marshal House will never let you off. With both his arms broken, the tall and sturdy man was afraid. He had no choice but to use the Sky Fire Marshal House to pressure Yi Chenfeng. Who can prove that I killed you? And since you dare to make a move on Ji Qingxue here, it proves that this place is safe. I don't know if I guessed correctly. Yi Chenfeng sneered. Under the tall and sturdy man's desperate gaze, he slapped the tall and sturdy man's head, causing him to faint. In the next moment, a powerful devouring vortex formed in Yi Chenfeng's palm and rushed into the tall and sturdy man's head. It forcefully devoured his spiritual beast and ended his life. My soul power is finally full. Yi Chenfeng had absorbed the medicinal power of the 1,000-year-old blood ginseng king and was on the verge of a breakthrough. Now that he had devoured the tall and sturdy man's Class 2 beast illusionist spiritual beast, the soul power contained in the blood egg immediately reached a level of overflowing. A pure soul power flowed through Yi Chenfeng's body, transforming the white soul power in his body. Chapter 51. I've finally broken through to the rank 1 beast illusionist realm. Yi Chenfeng smiled as he felt his white soul power transform into green soul power. His strength had increased by more than 3 times, and his physical strength had increased by more than 250 kilograms. It could be said that after breaking through to the beast illusionist realm, Yi Chenfeng could be considered to have truly stepped onto the path of cultivation that defied the heavens. He can now cultivate soul skills that could shock everyone. Because his breakthrough this time was the result of overflowing soul power, he didn't need to consolidate his realm, and the soul power in his body was already stabilized. After breaking through to the next realm, Yi Chenfeng came to the unconscious Ji Qingxue, who had accidentally inhaled the fog. Although Yi Chenfeng didn't have a good impression of Ji Qingxue, he had to admit that Ji Qingxue was indeed too beautiful, especially with her flawless facial features. However, he didn't have any distracting thoughts in his mind. He found the antidote on the burly man's body and gently opened Ji Qingxue's rosy lips to feed her. About 5 minutes later, Ji Qingxue slowly regained consciousness and woke up from her coma. She recalled the scene before she fainted, and her face was filled with fear. However, when she saw Yi Chenfeng sitting not far from her, silently regulating his breathing to protect her, the nervousness on her face disappeared and her heart was moved. She knew that Yi Chenfeng had saved her once again, and she owed him twice. Just as she was about to open her mouth to thank him, she saw the burly man lying motionless in a pool of blood. Her expression instantly froze. You're awake. Yi Chenfeng opened his eyes and looked at Ji Qingxue, who had a serious expression on her face. You killed him. Ji Qingxue didn't expect Yi Chenfeng to be so daring that he even dared to kill a senior from the Sky Fire Marshal House. Yes, if I didn't kill him, he would have killed us. Yi Chenfeng nodded and said without a trace of emotion. Yi Chenfeng, we can report his actions to the Sky Fire Marshal House. With this memory stone, the Sky Fire Marshal House will definitely uphold justice for us. Ji Qingxue felt the seriousness of the situation and said emotionally, but now that he's dead, we're finished. The Sky Fire Marshal House will definitely not let us off. I hate trouble. Moreover, if you and I don't say anything, who would know that he died in my hands? When the time comes, I will throw his corpse into the midst of the vicious beasts to create a false impression. I believe that even if the Sky Fire Marshal House investigates, they won't suspect us. Yi Chenfeng said calmly as he looked at Ji Qingxue with a burning gaze. But no buts. Yi Chenfeng interrupted her and said, Ji Qingxue, you and I both know the consequences of this matter. Therefore, you have two choices now. Either you choose to give up and withdraw from the Sky Fire Marshal House's assessment to protect yourself, or you give me the memory stone and help me hide this matter. But can this be hidden? Ji Qingxue said helplessly. Also, when Fei Hong knows what happened here, I'm afraid he will tell on us. When Fei Hong, he was also here just now? Yi Chenfeng frowned slightly, his face revealing a trace of seriousness. Yes, he was with me just now, but because he was afraid, he abandoned me and ran away alone. Ji Qingxue nodded and said. Although Ji Qingxue didn't like Yi Chenfeng from the bottom of her heart, she had to admit that Yi Chenfeng was much stronger than Wen Fei Hong. At the very least, he wouldn't abandon her and run away alone. I will think a way to deal with Wen Fei Hong. You only need to remember that once this matter is exposed and Elder Lu and the rest ask about it, you have to pretend that you know nothing. Yi Chenfeng solemnly instructed. Then all right. Ji Qingxue didn't want to give up the opportunity to become a disciple of the Sky Fire Marshal House. She bit her moist lips and decided to take a gamble. She gave a memory stone to Yi Chenfeng. All right, I'm leaving first. Be careful. After saying that, Yi Chenfeng didn't hesitate and quickly left with the burly man's corpse. Yi Chenfeng spent more than an hour and was lucky enough to find a pack of wolves in the Amethyst Mountains. He threw the burly man's corpse into the pack and quickly left. When Fei Hong, this person is quite troublesome. After dealing with the burly man's corpse, Yi Chenfeng's face didn't relax. When Fei Hong was like a thorn in his heart, causing him to worry. Oh, there's someone. Just as Yi Chenfeng was thinking about how to deal with Wen Fei Hong, a light rustling sound of leaves rustling entered his ears. He raised his head slightly and saw a tall young man wearing a black robe standing on a fragile branch with a long spear in his hand. He was looking at him mockingly. The disciples of the Sky Fire Marshal House are indeed not simple. Although the black-clothed man was a level 2 beast illusionist and didn't give Yi Chenfeng any pressure, his light as a feather qigong made Yi Chenfeng think highly of him. Kid, you are very unlucky to have met me. The black-clothed man revealed a cold smile and said, but if you have a treasure that can move me, I can consider letting you go. What if I don't have a treasure and want to go over? Yi Chenfeng sneered. Then we'll see if you have the ability. As he said that, the black-clothed man lightly kicked off the ground and jumped into the air. He held a 9-foot 9-inch long spear in his hand and thrust it towards Yi Chenfeng. The black-clothed man thrust his spear like lightning. Not only did Yi Chenfeng not dodge, but he also rushed towards him. Just as the black-clothed man's spear was about to pierce Yi Chenfeng's chest, his right hand suddenly struck out towards the sharp tip of the spear. Courting death. The black-clothed man didn't expect Yi Chenfeng to use his palm to block his spear. He revealed a cruel smile, but in the next moment, the expression on his face froze. This was because he discovered that the power coming from Yi Chenfeng's palm not only dissolved the power of his spear, but also a power that was beyond his control passed through the tip of the spear and into his arm, causing him to almost lose his grip on the spear. Just as he was horrified by Yi Chenfeng's terrifying physical strength, Yi Chenfeng quickly threw out a punch, forcing him to fuse with the power of his spiritual beast and defend with all his might. Defeat! Yi Chenfeng roared, and a force of more than 5,000 kilograms erupted in his fist. The powerful force directly shattered the black-clothed man's soul power defense and hit him in the chest, sending him flying with one punch. The black-clothed man raised his head and spat out a mouthful of blood. He smashed an ancient tree that was more than 10 meters tall behind him and fell heavily to the ground, unable to get up for a long time. If you don't want to be beaten up, give me your treasure. Otherwise, Don't blame me for being rude. Yi Chen Feng looked down at him condescendingly and threatened coldly. You,